Destiny confronts Mr. Girl about his relationship. Dude, I mean, I don't even know what to say after we watched that thing. That was insane. Mr. Girl, you know, listen, people make mistakes. I get it. I do. I understand. People make mistakes. And I understand the idea of like being able to have a space to grow and learn and be a better person. Mr. Girl's just not somebody who can do that. He just cannot do that. Like when he talks about all the past things he's done wrong, there's absolutely nothing in his voice or in his tone that communicates any empathy at all. Not even fake empathy, right? And you shouldn't fake it, but it's like he doesn't even pretend to care. He's a bad person, fundamentally. Yeah, he laughs about it. He's very egotistical. He's a bad person. And, like, you know, frankly, he really doesn't belong, like, in any space. I'm not talking about the internet. I mean, in general. You can extrapolate a meaning from there if you want, but, you know. He just says he shouldn't be, he certainly shouldn't be, like, doing anything. And he has a lot of devout followers who identify with him, and I think it's disgusting, you know? Like, we criticize, like, the high-value man sphere, but... I mean, this is beyond anything. This is like a sphere of abuse that he's generating. So, let's get this going. Apparently not.
I feel happy with the resolution.
What is how? Why?
Because I got what I wanted.
Yeah, but do you feel like she got what she wanted?
No.
Why?
Why not?
You know, it was something that was really interesting when I was talking to my wife about this. She watched my segment when I watched the video, this Mr. Girl with his girlfriend. My wife was like. My wife was saying she's like, you know what really bothered, like what's interesting is he's putting her in a situation where they need to like sign like a contract, like an engagement, right? They're talking about how he wants to like sleep with her and she just pretends like she's a doll. And she's like, you know, she's like, I know you said it was an interesting conversation, but she's like, you know what really bothers me is the fact that he's forcing her to make an agreement, and it seems like he doesn't want that she can't back out of. And that's not how consent works, especially when it comes to like sex. Like you cannot create a scenario where like, okay, if you're saying you'll do this, you'll have an arrangement once a month now, you can't back out of that. That's not how it works. You know, part of like proper consent is the ability to remove it whenever you want. That doesn't make anything beforehand non-consensual. But sorry, I like blanked out. It doesn't make anything beforehand non-consensual, but you can say like, I don't want this anymore, and you instantly stop, and you're done. And like, he doesn't seem like there's any space for that. It's crazy
because it seems like she's having a lot of trouble emotionally processing everything going around this event.
Yes, whose problem is that?
Both of yours.
No, I still contest your overall view.
Why wouldn't you be empathetic to somebody? Okay,
the situation as unresolved, and that Shaylin said no. She said yes, and I got what I wanted, and I feel like this is a victory.
I don't think that should be the goal.
Okay, let me be clear. When I call Shaylin controlling, my problem was not her saying no, because she didn't say no. She didn't say yes. She didn't say no. She didn't say yes to the conversation. She didn't say no to the conversation.
Yeah, okay.
She just leaves me in this hell.
Yeah. So what do you think is happening? What do you think is the problem? It's pretty simple, I think. Maximus. Well, Max, hello.
Nice to.
How are you maxing today? You're living your max.
Bro, what's... This is the thing that really bothers me. I understand Destiny's going through like his villain arc because he's been banned and he has like a lot of friends that are like conservatives, whatever, like who cares? I don't understand. I understand for the sake of a conversation being like relatively cordial, but like, oh, Max, how you doing, Max? It's like, why are you acting so friendly to a person who is like, he's a fundamentally bad person? We're not talking about somebody with like a political disagreement. We're talking about somebody who's like legitimately abusive and doesn't care. So I don't understand like the friendly tone and the jovial nature. I just don't get it.
It's my life.
That's right. I am. My back hurts. I pulled a muscle in my back.
Why would you do that?
Stress. You know, I've been under a lot of stress lately.
Really? Why is that?
You know, just working these projects. Fame is stressful. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Of course. Absolutely.
Are we gonna do cameras?
We can. We don't have to. It's up to you. I don't care.
Yeah, let's do cameras. I think I want to communicate some things non-verbally.
Why the fuck would you ask me a question if you already had the answer in mind?
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Why wouldn't you just state, let's turn on cameras? Why would you give me the illusion of choice? Like, if I would have said no, you probably would have asked again, like, are you sure? Like, I'm supposed to...
I wouldn't... No, no, if you say no, I would accept that, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it would be...
Why were you uncomfortable expressing a preference there initially, though? Why not just say, like, hey, I'd prefer to have cameras. There are things I want to communicate non-verbally.
Because...
so he's catching him because this was something that he kept, like, being, like, very manipulative to his partner about, so...
I think that you outrank me. Well, first of all, I'm a guest on your stream. Your stream's much bigger. You gave me my career. So I feel like...
Destiny's friendly with MrGirl because he's described MrGirl multiple times as somebody who's just like him, but without social skills. It's so interesting. I've seen Destiny say that he's a very good judge of character. I disagree at this point. I mean, like, probably generally, but that's definitely... Like, what? If you really thinks that they're similar in the capacity just without social skills? Max doesn't lack social skills. He lacks, like, empathy. He lacks, like, fundamental human empathy. Like, he's a scumbag. I don't understand. Interesting classification from Destiny there.
Well, you know. So I feel like it's up to you.
Okay. Okay, bud. Hold on. MrGirl.
I see where you're going with this, though. I like it.
Do you know? Jesus, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be that aggressive the whole time. Don't worry, okay?
Okay.
Aggressive? That wasn't aggressive.
You do what you need to do.
What? Was he being serious when he said he's not gonna be that aggressive?
Okay.
Jesus, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be that aggressive the whole time. Don't worry, okay?
Okay.
I don't even know that. Okay.
You do what you need to do.
Maybe I'm too triggered. But...
Okay.
Also might post this on my channel.
Oh, gotcha.
Depending on how it goes.
Well,
no problem.
I mean, I think that's given. A given.
All right. Are you excited? Are you hyped? Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm fucking ready.
Okay. I just have questions.
A few questions. Yeah.
So, well, I listened to the video of you debating Shaylin and other feelings. Of you talking to your girlfriend. It is girlfriend, right? It's not
just
fiancé
girlfriend.
Okay, gotcha.
Not yet.
Not yet. And
I could propose to her right now on stream. Wouldn't that be romantic?
Maybe.
As I defend my abusive behavior.
That would be a good love bomb. The most effective. That's how I got married to fucking Melina. We had a huge fight. I was like, fuck, this bitch is about to run out of me. And I was like, Melina, I love you. Marry me. And she was like, oh,
nice.
Okay. Yeah. That didn't actually happen. Okay.
Well, I'm going to save this for
yeah, you want to save that for a big fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, I don't have these organized by topic at all. It was just kind of like things that I was writing down as the video was going. So I'm kind of doing a order in time and not necessarily by topic. All right.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about. I know you know what I'm talking about.
For which thing?
The whole thing.
I do, but I know what she's talking about too. I don't know if you know what she's
sure.
talking about. We'll see. We'll get there. For something, I'm just kind of curious. Normally with people, I would caveat a bunch, but I don't think I need to do anything. Yeah. None of these are like attacking questions. I'm just like curious. When you say you have an interesting perspective, and this has kind of come up a few other times on sex, and I'm curious, like, what that is. So you present this idea initially that, like, when you're having sex with somebody, it feels like you want to be in your zone 100%, no consideration, no worrying about what they're doing, and that even if you make it like 90% you and 10% them, that 10% space that you're creating for them becomes like 90% of what you're thinking about, and it kind of like ruins it. Yeah, what do you mean? Yeah, just explain that. I'm curious what you're talking about that.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate. I feel okay. So here's a story. When I was about 12.
So here's the thing. Like, listen, you're allowed to do whatever you want sexually. The problem is that his partner doesn't like that, so he's like bartering with her to do that, and he's creating a situation where he wants a contract that'll be upheld permanently, where she can't withdraw that that arrangement. Like this is an arrangement he wants to be able to lock her into like indefinitely. That's not how sex works, right? Or that's not how it should work. I mean, she can do that if she can agree to it if she wants, but it seems like she's agreeing to it under like an abusive pressure from him, which obviously is a fucking huge problem to me, at least. Find a different girl that's into that. Find somebody who likes to be objectified. Like, instead of just being incredibly fucking manipulative and abusive to your girlfriend, why don't you just find somebody who's into that instead? I think that like a biggest part of MrGirl is he likes being able to manipulate and vulnerable people. I do. And after I watched this whole Cuties review, I was like, oh, I kind of understand what he's saying, but he's seeming really uncomfortable about it. When he talks about attraction to children, I mean, if he does have one, I imagine it has nothing to do with their bodies per se, and has everything to do with how malleable their brains are. So yeah, man, I think he's a fucking scumbag that doesn't care about consent at all. I don't think that he would care if he's the kind of person like who doesn't care about people. He's the reason that we made sexual assault laws, like to people like him. To be honest with you, he knows what he needs to do for people to not like go after him for shit, but like he's a fucking piece of shit.
New stepmother asked my father, did you ever have a sex talk with Max? And my father said, Max, make sure the woman comes first. That's our sex talk. Mm-hmm. And I was just raised in a very feminist, liberal environment with feminist, liberal parents. And I was basically taught that.
That's it. I don't know if I would consider that feminist, liberal to make the woman come first. That's like, I mean, there must be more. Is there more? Because it just sounds normal to me. But okay.
Well, okay. To be clear, that wasn't a very feminist/liberal statement at all. But
no, it wasn't at all.
You don't think so?
Absolutely not.
Dude, this is what I'm talking about. Like, he has this hard, like, bro, this characterization he has of people around him is just fucking insane. That's not feminist or liberal at all. It's pretty normal, right? It's not very in depth, but like, why was that feminist or liberal? Make the girl come first. Okay, where's the feminism and liberalism there? That's just like society, like pretty normal shit.
How so?
There's maybe it's a phrasing issue, but there's a difference fundamentally in the approach to a sexual interaction, where one is where you are concerned about the sexual gratification of your partner, and the other is, I gotta knock this shit out so that they feel like they got something from it like I did, right?
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
My interpretation of what he meant, and this is also based on the rest of my life.
Either way, it's not feminist. I understand what he's saying. What he's saying is like, I got to make the girl come first so that she's, you know, whatever, as like almost as a chore, which is one interpretation, versus like, oh, make the woman come first from a pleasure perspective. Like, I feel like either way, that's not really a feminist thing. Like, hey, make sure that, if anything, it's reactionary to men not necessarily caring about women being satisfied. So, you know,
is guys who just hump and then come and then fall asleep are pigs. You don't want to be a selfish asshole. You want to be a courteous, empathetic, adaptive lover who is going to satisfy his woman, because that's what's important in bed.
Okay.
Yeah, mutual partners. What you're saying is that you want to exclusively be satisfied. Like, I don't know, why is that a feminist thing? Hey, make sure both of you are satisfied and not just the one. Oh, wow, it's so feminist. That's just, what the fuck?
I think that's like, I would say that's like level 3. We want to get one more level deeper, but that's okay. That's probably okay. Level 1 is like, I don't give a fuck about my partner. Level 2 is like, level 2 is like, I'll make him come first at least. Level 3 is like, you want to be an attentive lover so your partner's having a good time. I think ideally there's like a 4th level, maybe, where it's like, me and my partner are like in this mutual pursuit of gratification or trying to satisfy each other, and there's like an inherent or intrinsic enjoyment in that. So like if I'm with a partner that I really like, I'm not getting them off only so that they're having a good time, or only so that like I'm making sure that like we're not uneven on orgasm counts, but because like I enjoy that experience too. Like I genuinely want them to be enjoying their time with me. That's not necessarily a thing that has to happen right away, I guess, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but that wanting can bleed into a feeling of responsibility.
Sure.
Okay.
I don't think it's a bad thing, but
it can feel bad. So I mean, I've been saddled with this shit since I was 12. A feeling
isn't
like,
what a victim. Holy shit.
Like as a 12-year-old, it feels very weird to be told like your sexual fantasies that you have now are actually misogynistic, almost rape fantasies. With those fantasies you have where you're fucking somebody, that's not.
What is that based off of? Like, because he just expressed to us that his father said, make sure the girl comes. And then it sounds like he's interpreting that as this whole thing where his entire identity as a person is completely questioned and invalidated. That's a huge reach to me. Like, that's not like, holy shit. Okay.
What sex should be like, you shouldn't be doing that. Sex should be you're twisting your wrists down so you can rub someone's clit while you're fucking them. That's what real sex is like. And like that's how my sex was for a long time. When I was 16, I was a very good little clit slave. And for a long time after that. And then I started like hating sex.
Yeah, I understand, because you're talking about like this feeling where it's like there's some like set of actions that I perform that can sometimes suck, and it's like a lot to be thinking about the other person, and there's a big responsibility that goes on, and now I kind of like sucked all the fun. Like I just want to throw some bitch over the couch and fuck her until, you know, yeah.
Yeah, I literally basically had never done that, except I had one girlfriend who didn't need any stimulation other than just me fucking her. And that was like very nice. But then after that, I didn't like really pick up on anything. I really liked having sex with her, but after that, I didn't really pick up on I didn't learn anything from that. So yeah, and like this mirrored my feelings about relationships in general, is that they're never for me. I feel like I'm always taking care of people, or historically, I always felt like that. That I'm always managing other people's feelings. And like, you know, everybody says I'm an empath, and I don't know if it's true, but you know, I think possibly it is. Okay. But I think part of what's made me empathetic is just like being afraid of my parents, being afraid of what's going to happen if I don't manage their emotions. Sure. So just ever since I was a kid, I feel like I'm just tracking everybody's feelings and trying to keep them from fucking freaking out. And with Shaylin, I mean, she wants me to do that. She wants me to track her feelings. And I speak for.
So why are you dating her? If you're fundamentally unhappy with the relationship and you think that she's too much upkeep, which is basically what you're saying, why are you dating her? Instead of trying to like manipulate her into like fundamentally changing who she is, why don't you just leave her? Like, I don't understand. Like, that's what I don't get it.
Both of us, because she will not be making any public statements about this video or our relationship.
Sure, gotcha.
Yeah, it sounded like she didn't even want it to be posted, and you still posted it, which again is like a sign of like fucking being a piece of shit.
Damn, I really want to get both of you on here at one point, but okay. So I'll share my
her from the masses.
Yeah, I'll share my view on this, and then we'll see if we can find any commensurability between the two of our views. If there's any way we could relate these. Okay. So I would consider, I think for me, because I'm not a fighter generally, I don't get a lot of fist fights with people. Yeah, sexual interactions with me are very unique in that you are sharing a very intimate space with somebody that ordinarily is respected in all other cases in life. You're never getting that close to somebody. or being like manipulating somebody's body. That's like, this is like a very, very intimate thing, right? You know, maybe a doctor will do this in an exam, and even that can feel a little awkward. Like you're necessarily giving up a lot to allow somebody to do that. Their hands are in places that might make you uncomfortable. They have the potential to do a great deal of like physical or psychological damage to you. There's like a lot going on. I guess I feel like when I listen to you talk about sexual experiences, it sounds like there is this, you have 100 points of sex pleasure, and you're trying to divide this up between like men and women. So like, even when you're getting 90 points of sex pleasure, if you have to give them 10, like that just, it fucks with your head, and it's like, fuck, I just want like to do the 100 points and be done with it, right? I want to have all of this like to myself so that I can enjoy this and whatever. But I guess when I think of like sexual experiences, this is gonna sound really religious in this terminology, but like I view this as like it's a union of two people creating one thing, and then in that one thing, in that shared space, like I think you can both pursue everything you want more or less, but you kind of have to be aware of what the other person is doing because it's a shared space. It's like when you fuse with the Patera earrings in DBZ and you become one body. There's like you're two people.
I think this is like almost completely unnecessary angle. Like the issue isn't that he wants to have selfish sex; it's the way that he goes about trying to engage in it, and like how he tries to like force her into this he tries to force her into a contractual engagement of like, if we have sex, this is how we have to have sex, like once a month, and you have to do it, and I need you to agree to it now, and then you can't back out. That's not how sex works. That's my fundamental issue. I don't really care that he likes to have selfish sex. Every guy likes having selfish sex sometimes. Like sometimes I fuck my wife and I don't give her any pleasure, you know, and like she enjoys it occasionally because it's like I get to use her, you know, and that's fun for us sometimes. It's not like something that happens a whole lot. But like, yeah, and some women can be into that. Find that woman. Like, why instead you seem to be constantly trying to like manipulate and change the person that you're with in order to like satisfy you. Over and over, and like berating her and putting her into a situation where she has to give you consent, and then she can't, or she has to like she has to give you consent, and then she can't remove that consent. Like, that's a much bigger issue here. I feel like we're focusing on the wrong thing. Like, who gives a shit about like how selfish somebody is or isn't in bed? Like, it really doesn't matter. That's up to like a relationship contract. It's just like fucking bizarre. I mean, I just don't think that this is the angle that you would operate with, to be honest with you.
Sharing a space, and you kind of have to figure out how to navigate that for the both of you, rather than like two individual entities that are just trying to get as much as they can without the other person fucking it up too much. Is I guess a good difference.
And you see my view of it as too like combative or too competitive.
I don't think that your view is necessarily bad, but I don't know if this ruins it for you, but it would have to be something that requires like a level of negotiation ahead of time. So like, have you ever heard, for instance, of the concept of like free use?
Yeah.
Is that something that like appeals to you, or does that suck because you have to talk about it beforehand?
No, I'm fine with talking. I mean, that's kind of what I was trying to do in the video, is talk about it beforehand. I'm fine with that. The thing that appeals to me about free is it's not really a sexual thing. I'm not like, man, the idea of just like a lifeless, cold body there is amazing. Like, it's not that. It's an emotional thing that I'm asking for.
Yeah, I think it's not, you don't need, like, they could even be an active participant. You just don't want to feel like when you're having sex with somebody, you don't want to have to feel like you have to manage their feelings at all. Like, they could be into it, they can do whatever, but you want to feel like you can get in there, do what you want, and they are 100% self-sufficient in terms of taking care of themselves and everything, emotionally.
Yeah, but I think that I want reparations.
What do you mean by that?
So I'm from women.
Well, but like, what kind of reparations? What do you mean?
I want agency reparations. Like, I want control. I want selfishness. I want to have that 12-year-old sex I never got to have, 16-year-old sex I never got to have. I want to be more like a 16-year-old. I feel.
I don't even know what that means. What? Okay. What?
Like I'm missing my childhood, my teenage years.
So like,
and I want Shaylin to just like allow me to be that 16-year-old, careless, selfish teenager, occasionally. And not always, just sometimes. And like, it's not something, I don't know if it's something I'll want.
Well, you established that you guys barely have sex, so every time you guys have sex, like maybe once a month. So like which I don't even know why you guys don't have that much sex. I'm assuming it has something to do with how much of a piece of shit you are. I don't really know. But yeah, like that's basically all the time based on like your arrangement.
Want forever. And I think that our relationship could change in a way, or I could change in a way so that I don't feel like I want that. But right now, I get what you're saying. Like, you're saying I could have that feeling and not have the other person just lie still with duct tape over their mouth. But I don't think, where I'm at right now, I don't know if that's possible. I feel like anything now just feels like you're telling me I have to figure out what you're thinking and feeling and deal with it. And I don't want. I need you to just cocoon into yourself, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in about 12 minutes.
Gotcha. I think that I want to be really careful with what I say, because I'm not advising you to like break up. I'm never going down that road or anything. But I think that I think that it can be the case that sometimes there are like fundamental sexual incompatibilities with some people, right? Like, say you have like a very prim and proper woman who doesn't believe in any degrading stuff, and like maybe she'll even like give you blowjobs. But let's say you have this fantasy where it's like, I want to hang you over the edge of the bed and fuck your throat until you're fucking crying, and that person is like, I will never ever do that. Like, at some point you have to realize like, okay, well, fuck me. I'm either gonna open my relationship, be single, or cheat, or I guess whatever, or fucking real doll, I guess. But like, yeah. So I'm curious because it sounds like for Shaylin, there's some level of emotion. If you don't want to talk about it, bring it up.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, it feels like she wants to feel like there's some level of emotional management or at least engagement going on with the other party during sex. Otherwise, and she didn't explain why, so it's hard to know, but maybe she feels like used, or maybe she feels just in general like unseen or unheard, or those sexual experiences aren't fulfilling for any of those prior, or maybe other unlisted reasons, which makes it hard for her to, I guess, like acquiesce to those desires, to your desires.
I can give my interpretation of what Shaylin was saying. If you...
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. My understanding is that Shaylin, well, first of all, if she was really into...
Or those sexual... She didn't explain why, so it's hard to know, but maybe she feels like used, or maybe she feels just in general like unseen or unheard, or those sexual experiences aren't fulfilling for any of those prior, or maybe other unlisted reasons, which makes it hard for her to, I guess, like acquiesce to those desires.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I find it very bizarre that like she would be so against. Okay, so this is I'm trying to. So I find it interesting that she's so against like some very emotionless sex sometimes to this degree, and like that could be her or it could be him. The way that he was going about it, it just gives you like a really gross feeling, an incredibly pushy, gross, like rapey feeling. You know, I don't know. Like I have sometimes I have very aggressive sex with my wife. Like we have some very sex that a lot of people would consider pretty suspicious, right? Which isn't which is not uncommon for some people. Like we like CNC. But there's always like the understanding that like it can be snapped out of at any moment instantaneously with stop. That's it. It's all has to be like war. You know, if you guys have a safe word or something, I feel like that's her biggest issue. Is like it seems like there can never be a disconnection from the situation, because again, he's trying to force her and pressure her into like a contract that she seems to not be able to. That she cannot break, or if she does break it, he'll get fucking aggressive and like angry at her or something. That's just the way that I'm interpreting it.
To your desires.
I can give my interpretation of what Shaylin was saying. If you...
Sure.
Let's hear it.
Okay. My understanding is that Shaylin, well, first of all, if she was really into it, then I wouldn't want it.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I want her to be giving me something. And if she happens
see, that's so fucking weird. Like if my wife, even when we're doing like consensual non-consent, like if she's not into it, I don't want it. That's just like, I don't really understand that. I don't understand wanting to rape actually do that to somebody. That's what I'm hearing here. That's how I'm interpreting this. I don't think I'm having an unreasonable interpretation, to be honest with you. That's what it sounds like to me. Insane.
Want the exact same thing as me, then my fantasy becomes eclipsed by hers, and it then feels like it's about her. So I want her, okay, getting throat fucked is like a pretty serious thing. Like that's some people, that's not something you're gonna feel neutral about. That's like hugely great or terrible.
But just to draw some delineations here, because it is interesting, right? Because it sounds like if a girl like threw herself over the edge of the bed, was like, I really want you to throw fuck me until I cry, that experience wouldn't really be as fulfilling for you as if you like rolled a girl over and you were like, let me throw fuck you until you cry and just like deal with it, and then afterwards maybe I could do something. Like you would like that second experience more, right? With the one where she's like not because if it's about like
well,
this, yeah,
I want to be careful. I want to be
yeah,
careful too. It's not. It depends on what kind of tears you want. So
well, I don't mean like, I'm sorry, when I'm talking about throat fucking, I don't mean crying like because you're traumatized. I mean crying because you like lack of air and whatever else goes on when you're shoving dicks in your throat.
It's not that I wouldn't like it, but if I would be serving her, like regardless of what it looks like, if somebody says do this to me and throw XYZ, then you are effectively.
Dude, this is like very bizarre. Like this goes beyond like this. Dude, this doesn't. He doesn't seem like he should be able to be. He shouldn't be engaging with any woman or any person. Because like he doesn't want like mutual fantasies that are fulfilling with people. He wants to legitimately like. It seems like he legitimately wants to like rape this girl in some capacity. Like he wants her to consent, but he wants her to hate the entire experience. Why? That's insane. That's psychotic. That doesn't even make sense. I've never heard of that before. Like I don't think that's not healthy in any capacity.
Serving that person, and like that's fine. I'm not saying I'm against all like service and sex. What bothers me is when there's no clarity about the service.
It's always going to be like really hard to find that though, no? Like let's say for instance, like let's say that I'm
to find that compatibility.
No, to find that clarity. Like let's say that I'm with a girl.
No, but it's not about him always needing power. Like it's not a power thing. Like I mean, like I like having sexual power too. This goes beyond to like another degree of just like, oh, I need power. This goes to like a whole other like a fucking degree of abuse. It's fucking, this is insane. Like this is way too, it's like very extra, I guess you'd say.
I like the idea of like somebody riding on top of me. That's like a really hot idea for them to do that just for me. I want you to do it just for me. And let's say the girl is even willing to say like, oh, like I don't normally do that. I'm into that. She's like, I'll do it for you because I love you. Well, what's happening at that point? Is she like doing something just for me, or is she doing it because like now it's a thing she wants to do because she loves me, or like that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you even begin to separate out like what is for me and what's not for me, especially in the context of a relationship, right?
That can get complicated. I agree, but I think there's certain markers that I am looking for to feel like something's for me. So like one, it was my idea. Okay. You know, if Shaylin had said, you know, Max, I was thinking, you seem to have a lot of trouble with blah, 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 and I think that it might be nice for you if I lay perfectly still during sex. What do you think? Then that would start to feel like, what are you tricking me? You want me to do this for some reason. There's a trap. That the Venus flytrap alarm would go off if she did that. But that didn't happen. Another is like, when I asked her, she wasn't like, oh, you hit the nail on the head. This is my fantasy. I want this. And then she said yes immediately. So she did say yes immediately. But then it felt like she wanted to make the way we're talking about it about her, which is like a problem for me, because it's like, okay, I'm getting the thing in a tiny little nugget, but it's surrounded by the exact opposite of what I want. Of like, can you make this conversation where you're asking me to lie still during sex about me?
I think
like,
that there's...
No,
okay,
no,
so,
I don't want to do that.
Okay, there is a... I'm trying to explain this. There's a dynamic around rougher sex that's always kind of like that, and I'm so I'm curious how you feel about this. Okay, so I've been with people that like very rough encounters sometimes, and I'm not normally like that, but I mean I can play the role if I need to, okay? But when I'm in charge of like a very rough encounter like that, it's most of my brain power is usually spent figuring out like how is the other person responding, right? And I think that in the middle of that encounter,
you want to like see if it's too much or whatnot. Yeah, for sure. I get that.
Even though you're pushing really hard, like the only reason it works is because the other person knows that there's some consideration at the end of the day there for them. So it's kind of weird because I feel like in situations where you're in charge of the sexual encounter, you're actually the bitch. Like, I'm taking you as hard as I can, but I'm making sure that like it's a good position and I'm not like destroying your cervix. I'm making sure that if I'm choking you, I'm not like actually killing you. Like I'm making sure that I'm pulling your hair, right? We're at the base and we're not just pulling the end. Like there's like all these things going on where it's like, yeah, like we're doing the experience where you're getting this like very, very intense hard thing. But like all of my thoughts are making sure like, okay, like I'm not like actually hurting this person, and they know that I know what the boundaries are. It seems like you want to literally just rape somebody. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah.
Right. Well, I think the thing is though, with hard sex, a lot of the person wants to be free to react as though you're raping them. So
a little bit, yeah. But all of that occurs. All of it is always wrapped in that nugget of
yeah. But I'm saying that if you're having sex that is going to look a lot like rape, like rough rape, and the person wants to be able to say no, stop, but I didn't say strawberry daiquiri, so you don't have to actually stop. Like then in that case, it makes sense to be more careful and more attuned. But if the person's lying still, I think it's like I don't think we need a safe word for that. She can just be like stop, you know. So I don't think that I would need that same level of hyper attunement, because I don't think it's that dangerous of a way to have sex.
Two separate conversations we're kind of having now, but so because I'm kind of more focused on I'm just trying to figure out what you want to get out of it. We'll follow this tangent for a little bit. So if the person is just laying there, you want to fuck them, you don't feel like it's really a big deal. It might not be to you because it doesn't seem that sexually intense, right?
No, it could be very psychologically intense.
Yeah, and I think that's like the issue is that the person feels like there have been people that I've been with where nothing extreme is going on, but you can tell for them like it's a very psychologically or emotionally intense moment. Yeah.
Yes, that's for sure a consideration. But that's why I'm saying. So I think it's true of both of us. We're both very likely to have some kind of like trauma freak out during sex.
A little bit, but it's different when you're the one in charge. Because when you're the one in charge, you have a way easier time stopping. Whereas for the other person, if they get nervous,
they have to actually speak up.
Yeah, which is very challenging. And you've already had videos saying you don't care if I'm just fucking with you. Well, half fucking with you, but go ahead.
Wait, saying I don't. That's at that time. Yeah.
But yeah. So I guess I think we both probably agree on that. But the backing up a little bit, I guess I'm trying to figure like, I'm trying to.
I don't know why we're laughing about it. Like, yeah, didn't he have like he was like having a conversation where he was like laughing about how he like forced a girl to have sex with him? Is that what we're referring to?
Like, it sounds like I'm trying to trap you. I know you don't think I would do that, but I'm trying to find a different way to ask you. Like, do you just want to rape somebody? Can you help me find a different way?
Steven, I trust you enough to just lie still while you do your
Yeah, because it sounds like that you want.
Take me wherever you want.
You want to basically, however. You basically want to have a person where you're just like, there's a thing that I want to do it. I want to do it because I want to do it. I don't care. You figure your own shit out, and then I'm gonna do that.
That's the key. Figure your own shit out.
I don't know if this is possible with humans without a lot of drugs. That's what I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to think of if it's possible because there's two.
I think you might be being a little sexist here.
Okay.
If Melina asked you,
what?
Will you lie still during sex? I just want to ride you once every month. I just want to ride you and do my thing. Do you think it would be fair to say, well, you might have trouble?
That's not what he's asking. You're not asking your girl to just lie there while you fuck her. You're asking her to lie there and not enjoy it, because if there's any enjoyment, you're not going to like it. Those are two very different things. Those are not the same thing. These are disanalogous. I don't know what the fuck he's on about.
Well, advocating for yourself in that situation, it could be traumatic for you psychologically, and that would only be possible if you did drugs. I feel like
for me, well, no, hold on, because it's totally different. Because if a girl were to ask me that, like, if that girl was you, if you wanted to ride me, and you were saying, Steven, I want to take you into my pussy, right?
Yes.
I would say to you, okay, Max, but I'm going to agree to it very quickly, and I'm going to have a lot of fun doing that. Is that going to ruin the experience for you? And you're going to fuck. It's not the same now, because that's the difference,
Maybe.
right?
I'm gonna lose this.
I don't.
I got too much fun.
Like if you would ask me,
you and I would never have this problem in the first place.
Well,
but
anything's possible. It's 2022. Okay, but I'm saying
I meant because we're so compatible, we wouldn't have this.
Of course, yeah. But I'm saying like, so you gave me like these three criteria earlier, that it's your idea, that the other person doesn't say like yes immediately, and that you have like a certain way of talking about it, right? But like if you suggested that, I would agree immediately, and I'm like, yeah, sure, and I would have a lot of fun doing it. So like I feel like that would ruin that for you.
Maybe, but I still don't think that you would
So
need
far
drugs to
away
do
from
it.
what I need.
Well, no, what I'm saying you would need drugs for is to genuinely have an experience where you're positing an idea that the other person's not really into, but you want to be able to kind of like get access to their body and use them for that. That there's either one of two things happening. Either one, they're legitimately getting raped, or two, there's found some way to dissociate themselves from the experience so much, usually with like some kind of drug. Yeah, that, like I don't see how normal human actually go that way. Yeah.
I don't think the problem is that Shaylin isn't into it.
Okay.
I don't agree that she's not into it. The problem is that she's not into agreeing to things.
Well, if she was into it, though, wouldn't that ruin it for you?
Yeah, that would have ruined it for me.
No, it's not that I want her to dislike it or not like it. I just
You literally said if you knew she liked it, you wouldn't like it. What is he talking about? It doesn't seem like he even knows what the fuck he's talking about. You said that if she has any level of enjoyment, then you're not going to like it. That's what you said. Bro, I just don't understand how this can get so fucking unintelligent.
Well, I think what would ruin it is if I felt like actually I was acting out her fantasy. It's not that I want her to not like it. It's fine if she like. I'm sure she.
Well, I feel like you could like get into that.
You said if she liked it 11%, it would still be too much for you. You want it to be purely you. You don't want her to enjoy it. Like, I don't know, what are we supposed to extrapolate from that?
Yeah,
you could start doing it and be really into it, and then all of a sudden she orgasms. You're like, "Fuck you, bitch! I didn't know you liked it."
No, it's fine.
You like it
That's
more
fine.
than me. No, okay.
No, that's fine. I'm not saying I don't have to like it more than her. I just want to have to not worry about her or not feel like I am serving her. That's what it is. I often feel like I'm serving people in relationships, and so if I'm just in that hypothetical, I just meant if I said it and then she reacted in a way that was like, "Oh, I've been trying to get you to say this for a long time. Good job, my pet." Then that would make me feel just used again.
For fuck's sake, just
Thank you for the
resubscribe
sub,
for
brother.
23 months.
I forgot to pause this.
Papa.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
So it's not that I want her to it's more about framing. It's not so much about her experience of it, like if she orgasms or likes it or whatever. It's more about what bothered me in the conversation is that it felt like the agreement itself was being reframed as somehow I have to be super caretaking of her. Like no matter what, I can't escape it. I can't escape it during sex. I can't escape it. And so then if I'm like, well, what if we can take this out of sex? She's like, well, then you have to caretake me right now. And it's like,
Isn't it like how do you?
I didn't see that at all. When in that entire thing, I don't know what the fuck he's even talking about.
Burden to be lifted.
Sure, I'm trying to think.
I want her to take on the burden. I think if she were a man, I feel like you would think this was a more reasonable request.
I think that
I think that he's trying to honestly weaponize feminism in order to try to dunk on him. Like, oh no, you're being sexist because you think that she's not strong enough to advocate for herself. You're telling her in this moment that she has to have she can't enjoy the sex. You literally said if you think that she's enjoying it, even 10%, it's too much for her. You want to be in that situation, and you're forcing her to make this agreement right on the spot, and then she has to adhere to it. Like this isn't normal fucking behavior. It's not that you're enacting like a CNC thing. You legitimately want to hate her. Like you don't want her to exist as a person. You basically might as well just fuck a doll at this point. This is fucking psychotic behavior, and it's so interesting that what I find very interesting is when he's in the moment with her, he is very comfortable being abusive towards her. But when he's talking to other people, and it seems like it's probably mostly men, he shuts down very quickly, and all of a sudden he tries to play this victim card. I mean, he tries to play the victim with his girlfriend as well. But he doesn't even have the balls to just say what he was saying before. He has to reframe it in a way where he's somehow the victim and she's somehow a fucking manipulative abuser even. He's fucking ridiculous.
So I want to be very careful when I say this. This isn't a slight on Shaylin. I need a knife.
Yes, it is.
This is good. It's not a slight on Shaylin, but I think that's
okay if it is.
What you're asking for would be an
okay.
exceptionally rare thing. I don't think many people can handle that level of self-care when they're that intimately engaged with another person. I think I could, but I would understand that would be an incredibly rare thing. Thank you.
Well, then that's what I need.
But so then where do you go from there?
Why don't you break up with her?
If your partner isn't able to
instead of trying to force her to do something that she doesn't want to do, why don't you just break up with her and fucking move on? I don't really get it.
Wait, she said yes, right? I mean, we have the same understanding.
Well,
at the ending
she said
of the
yes
video.
with a lot of obvious emotional reservations, right?
Well, that's
because
perfect.
she said yes, but
that's perfect.
But she wants to wrap it in that nugget of things about her. That's the issue. She's never going to say yes to what you're looking for because your issue with the rest of the conversation, she didn't, and that's why it fell apart at the end. The issue with the rest of the conversation is she said yes to the thing in the middle, and then the rest of it was building the nugget, right? Because that's what you were upset about her for. Why are you making this about you? Why can't we just do this thing? Why are you guys going day of the month? Jesus.
But I said no, I said no to the nugget. I escaped the nugget.
Yeah, but by even saying no to the nugget is being made, right? If it's a 90-10 thing, by even acknowledging the 10 thing, now it's become the 90 thing, is what it feels like. Because it felt like that was the majority of your disagreements for the whole last half of that interview was how to deal with the emotional stuff around what you want to be fundamentally an unemotional experience.
Yeah, I'm not saying it went perfectly, but I feel happy with the resolution.
Why?
Because I got what I wanted.
Yeah, but do you feel like she got what she wanted?
No.
why shouldn't in a relationship, if you guys are looking at yourself as some sort of singular entity, you've come together and joined to make some
Well, you're
sort
putting me in adult. You're putting me in an impossible. Like, either if she gets what she wants, then I lose, and if she doesn't get what she wants, then we're not a singular entity. I guess I just don't think of us as a singular entity.
No, you don't. I mean, you're both individuals, but when you come together in a relationship, especially for sexual purposes, there's one thing that is existing here that like has to be dealt with, right? There's a new thing that's created.
Once a month.
Okay.
I don't want us to come together as a singular entity.
Mm-hmm.
I want us to come together as individuals. I want to jack off with her body.
Sure.
And I want her to do whatever she needs to do.
But that's not what he wants. He keeps framing it like it's not what he wants. He doesn't want to just like fuck her and not have to care about her. He wants to fuck her in a way where like she's objectified and she can't enjoy it. Those are two very different things. Like she can't even be part of like the fantasy of not enjoying it, right? Like she's not even a rape fantasy. It's like he legitimately doesn't want her to like it. These are not the same thing. I love how nuance disappears the second that it's like it's positive for his argument.
Not make it my job to be super attuned to her. I actually want her to act in a way that makes it harder for me to attune to her.
Sure. But it seems like in order to get to that point, you're going to have to lay a whole bunch of emotional groundwork to get there. Like, you're going to have to do a lot of work to get to that point. Does that make sense?
I feel like we're there.
I don't... Hold on. I was going to say I don't think so. Let me rephrase that. Absolutely not.
Why not?
Because it seems like she's having a lot of trouble emotionally processing everything going on around this event.
Yes. Whose problem is that?
Both of yours.
No.
Yeah, like I don't understand.
No, I see. This is another thing I'm trying to change in my relationship with Shaylin. Processing your emotions is your job.
Sure, but
now,
you're both invested in the outcome of that process, are you not?
No. Of
course you are. You want her to be more emotionally stable and like, right? It's affecting.
Oh yeah. I care about that.
Well, clearly you don't.
But as far as getting what I want, I just need her to process her emotions on her own, or not process them and then say, "Oh, I freaked out. I can't handle this." Either one.
What if you get to the point where she's basically saying like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I have to exit the relationship.
I don't think she would break up with me because, I can't do what anymore? Process my own emotions?
Without any sort of input or guidance or help or acknowledgement from you or feeling seen
Look,
by you.
we both help each other process our emotions.
I really wanted him to finish what he was about to say there.
I'm not saying that I don't.
What if you get to the point where she's basically saying like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I have to exit the relationship.
I don't think she would break up with me because, I can't do what anymore?
I really wish he would have finished that. I want to know what he was going to say, like why he didn't think that she would break up with him. Because like it could have been like, oh, I don't think she would have broken up with me because like I don't think this is a big deal or something, or because or is it because like I don't, you think that you have her like wrapped around your finger in some capacity. I really wish he finished that thought.
Anymore. Process my own emotions?
Without any sort of input or guidance or help or acknowledgement from you or feeling seen by you.
We both help each other process our emotions. I'm not saying that I don't want to help her, but it's about responsibility that I'm saying. I don't want it to be my job to process her emotions for her instead of her. That feels like parenting.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I would say the same in my relationships. I go really hard on that. I don't want to feel like your dad. I'm not here to for you.
Listen, you can fundamentally agree with that for sure. I think everybody does. Like, you don't always want to be responsible for like helping your partner process their emotions. That's very damaged. I get it, but that's not what we're talking about. You're talking about a situation where you want her to not enjoy sex, literally, not fantasy about it. You just want her to not enjoy sex, and so that's a very difficult thing to process. And you don't want to be part of that process, which is interesting because if you were part of that process, it probably would be something like if you would help her get through her shit in that, she'd probably be more comfortable and being like, you know what, I'll do this, because now it's more about trying and you'll help if she has like an emotional breakdown. But instead you want to fuck her, and if she has an emotional breakdown, to just not have to deal with it. Like, it's very just like shitty, manipulative, and selfish.
But even at that point, there is like, I'm gonna understand that, especially if I'm making a really big ask, there's gonna be the other person is looking for some kind of assurance. Like, they want to make sure that things are okay. And I think that asking people to just basically jump off the edge of a cliff and close their eyes and hope that there's a balloon at the bottom is going to catch them. That's a really big ask for most people.
Yeah, but that's that even your framing of that is the responsibility that you and I feel is so baked into that analogy that when you and I get asked to manage our own feelings and process our own feelings and lie still so that we can be used, we're not jumping off of a cliff. We're not hoping there's some balloon at the bottom. We're just managing our feelings. But when we ask Shaylin to do it, it's throwing a little baby off of a cliff. And like, I agree that I kind of feel like that, but I don't, it's not true. I don't want to feel like that.
So here, okay, so I'm speaking
Baby better fucking grow wings.
Speaking from a place of personal experience here, because I have a lot of issues with this too. So I've had to deal with this a lot too. But like, one thing that
Bro, it's just fundamentally, this is a lot for her, and she needs help like managing it. That's it. And he doesn't want to help her manage it. That's the entire thing. Jesus Christ, this is, because I mean, we've already talked about it, but it's just not it's not directly analogous. Because again, I could ask my wife right now, I can get up, I can get off stream, and I could be like, I want to fuck you without making you come. I don't want you, like, and she'd be like, okay. Like, she wouldn't care. But like, you don't want to do that. You want her to not enjoy it, and you really want her to hate it. You effectively, it seems like you want to rape her. So
have to accept, because not everybody has the same emotional needs. Like, I'm the type of person, and also this is one important thing. Not everybody has the same emotional needs. Number one, and number two, not everything in a relationship has to be reciprocated.
Those are both true.
Yeah. So if different people have different levels of emotional requirements, it's not fair. I don't want to say it's abusive, but it's like it's not fair to bring up your emotional composition as a counter to theirs. And I'll admit, I do this sometimes when I fight with Melina even, where she'll say like, oh, well, I feel bad about this, you should do that.
I would never fucking do this.
Yeah, and I'll say like, bro, you could do 20 times worse than me. I don't give a fuck. I go to my computer room and fucking stream. Like, get the fuck over yourself, right? I'll say this when I'm mad, but I shouldn't. It's not a fair thing to say. Like, you can't expect people to match your internal emotional composition just because you want them to, right? Because they'll never be that. They can't unless you're dating like 14-year-olds. They'll never turn into that person. We're grown up. We're into it. We're adults. Like that's not going to change at that point. If you're
basically different people get triggered by different things. That's how everybody is in every relationship. So, for instance, MrGirl gets triggered when he has to care about his girlfriend. You know what I mean? So everybody and most people don't. Right? So.
Oh, that's true. I think we're dating some pretty young ladies.
How old is Shaylin?
We are dating 14-year-olds. She's 27.
Okay. Well, that's no.
I'm pretty different from how I was when I was 27.
Really?
I'm much more. Yeah. I couldn't talk about my feelings at all. I could not process or manage. I was like Shaylin. I was a complete fucking mess.
I mean, I still think you're a mess, but I bet you weren't that.
Not a complete mess.
Not a complete mess. Maybe, but okay.
Do you think I'm a complete mess?
No, not a complete mess.
So this is what's interesting. So the way you're identifying this girl as like a mess, that she's a fucking like hopeless and a mess in some capacity. Why are you still with her? You're dating somebody who you're like identifying as somebody who is a lot to deal with, basically. So then, and then you're complaining that you have to deal with her. You know what I mean? Like, okay, if you know she's the kind of person, like if you think that she's the type of person that needs like a lot of, I guess for lack of a better term, like conditioning, we'll say. Like you feel like she needs a lot of like conditioning, or you feel like she needs like a lot of like caretaking or whatever. And you've identified this as her as a person fundamentally. Why are you with her if you don't want to help her work on her shit? You don't have to you don't have to be there for anybody. You don't have to help people work on their shit. You just don't. But like, why are you then? Why are you putting yourself? Because it sounds like you're dating somebody who you know is not necessarily compatible. Somebody you know who struggles with their ability to manage their emotions. And instead of help them try to like process that in a positive way, you want to just berate them until they do what you want. Again, like another sign of like fucking being a manipulative piece of shit. Like you've signed the relationship contract to be with somebody. Like my wife gets very stressed very often. Right. And it is what it is though. Like I love her and I help her manage it. But if I just kept saying, do it yourself, then like, why am I dating her then? Why am I with her? What's the point? Like if I'm not going to be like the emotional support she needs, everybody has different requirements in a relationship of like different types of support. Why are you with her? It doesn't make sense.
But I think you have trouble interfacing with other humans sometimes, or it seems like.
And I think you don't have enough trouble interfacing with other humans sometimes.
Okay, based.
See, just because you can help somebody manage their feelings, and just because they're saying they need you to, and even if they actually need you to, that doesn't necessarily mean you should.
Sure, but you're talking about an incredibly like hyperinflated situation. Like this is not like this isn't a situation where like your fucking partner actually farted in the movie theater and now they're upset about it and you're like, oh my god, like shut the fuck up, it's not that big of a deal. You're talking about wanting her to have sex with you're trying to force her to create a relationship contract where you can have sex with her like she's a doll once a month, and then you don't want her to be upset about it, and you don't want her to enjoy it at all either, because if you know that she enjoys it, you're not going to want to do it. Like these are two very different things.
I agree, and those are boundaries that I'll set. Like I'll tell somebody, it's usually for fighting, so I'm doing it a bad way, but I'll be like, hey, like if you need me to like manage this for you, then get the fuck out of my house. I'm never gonna do it, right? There are like things that I won't do. I can't do that, but there are things that I will do that I wouldn't expect somebody to do for me, because I understand that I'm an exceptionally emotionally detached individual. But I would never. But if I walk through life trying to place the same expectations on other people that I would want them to place on me, I'm probably never gonna find anybody ever, because people process things in different ways. That's just part of the concessions we have to make when we join into a relationship, right?
I agree. I do more of in this specific way in the terms of helping the other person process their emotions. I do a little bit more of the lifting there.
But it's probably because you don't need help processing yours, right?
No, I do. I think I actually do, and I ask her for help with that, and she does help me with that. So it's not all one way. I do need help with that. But when it comes to this doll sex, I need a break. Daddy needs a break.
Well, no, you don't need a break. You need access to their body, and then for them to shut their emotions off. It's a way bigger ask than just saying, I need a break.
No.
Right?
I don't want to shut her emotions off. I actually need her to not shut her emotions off.
Well, you need her to shut her emotions off from you. You don't want to engage with that. That's her.
Right. Right. I don't want her to dissociate, because that will cause problems. I think that's the concern, is that she'll do this by dissociating. That would not be okay with. Bro,
this whole thing doesn't make any sense. I don't understand how we're just walking past the fact that he said that he doesn't want her to enjoy it at all. The 10% is too much. What are you talking about? I feel like we're okay with it. Like we're not even pressing him on like the fact that he's just like upfront like lying in Destiny. I don't really get it.
If I sense from looking at her lifeless,
it's because it just feels like he knows what he shouldn't say in the moment, so he's avoiding saying it to come off as like somehow he has like a defensible position here when it comes to her. Like the way that he talks to Destiny is different than the way that he talks to women. Like he seems to like if he doesn't respect somebody, which tends to be women, it seems, or people he perceives as women. Like all of a sudden he just doesn't give a shit. But like when somebody else is like, I want, how do I frame this? How do I frame this to make it seem like what I'm saying is a defensible thing?
Body that she's dissociated, then I will yell at her for a whole new thing. I need somebody to be taking care of Shaylin. I just need it to not be me. Once in a while.
You need like a threesome with like a caretaker to be touching her head while you're...
Yes. And explaining to her how she feels and calling her a stupid bitch and telling her to shut up. Somebody needs to take the reins for 12 minutes.
Is this close enough?
12 minutes a month.
Have you ever thought about just paying... Oh, no, because you guys are going to close it. Have you ever thought about just like paying a prostitute for this experience?
I can pay Shaylin for this experience.
No, you can't, because you don't have that. You can't just change your relationship with her.
I don't have that kind of money. Yeah, we have a... I don't know. No. See, that's the thing, is that the prostitute would have the same problem as the doll.
Which is?
It's not really giving me anything. A prostitute's not really doing something for you. Like, they kind of are, but it's...
Do you feel like if somebody gives you like a blowjob, are they doing something for you, or are they doing it only because they love you, so it doesn't count as them doing something for you?
I think it depends on the blowjob. I've gotten blowjobs that felt like somebody was just trying to suck my soul out of me, and I've gotten blowjobs that felt like they're doing a nice thing for me. I don't have a blanket interpretation of getting a blowjob.
Okay.
I still contest your overall view of the situation as unresolved, and that Shaylin said no. She said yes, and I got what I wanted, and I feel like this is a victory.
I don't think that should be the goal of those types of conversations, right?
Well, maybe that's the issue. You don't like my goal.
Yeah, I don't think you should be trying to win confrontations with a partner. I think that the goal should be
to get something.
Yeah, but the goal should be that both of you walk away feeling like you've got something and you're both satisfied.
I don't want... That wasn't my goal. Yeah. So you just don't like my goal.
He doesn't want that. That's what he was going to say. Listen.
You should be trying to win confrontations with a partner. I think that the goal should be
to
that...
get something.
Yeah, but the goal should be that both of you walk away feeling like you've gotten something and you're both satisfied.
I don't want... That
Yeah, he doesn't want that. He doesn't want her to be satisfied. Like a little bit of a slip there. He's not looking for that. He wants her to actively be unsatisfied.
Wasn't my goal. Yeah. So you just don't like my goal.
Well, from a business perspective, sure, but from a relationship perspective, like, it just seems not healthy for both parties. Like, if Shaylin was trying to extract something from you like that, like, you would probably walk away feeling awful, right?
It wouldn't be an extraction. That's the thing, is that I would just answer her question.
Mm-hmm. Oh, like
again,
you would just say no, right?
I'd say yes, or I would say no.
Okay.
Or I would say I need to think about this. Okay. Or I would say I have some clarifying questions to make sure I know what I'm agreeing to. But whatever I said, I would give her the clear sense that I am figuring out for myself what I'm okay with, and I will return with an answer for you, and you'll know clearly where you stand. Again, I reject the notion that Shaylin is saying no to the sex act, or that she has even any particular reservations about the act itself. Mm-hmm. She just doesn't like making agreements.
I disagree, but you know her way better than I do. Yeah, so like it feels to me like
she you don't worry better than I do. No, disagree. That's not what the situation tells us. It's like we experienced the situation by watching that, and he's just describing something different. And then you were like, yeah, I guess I just don't like. I disagree, but also I don't know her. Like, no, it has nothing to do with that. Like, we watched it in real time. Like, he's a fucking scumbag.
Doesn't have any problems with the act itself, but she's trying to figure out like emotionally where both of you are going to be standing before and after the act.
She's trying to control where we're going to be standing. She's not trying to figure it out.
She is trying to control, but that's because she's one of the members of this interaction. So of course she wants some kind of control.
Oh, let me be clear. When I call Shaylin controlling, my problem isn't that she is exerting control. It's the way she's exerting control. It's that she's underhandedly trying to control it.
How do you feel like it's underhanded? Like, in what way? What do you mean by that?
Well, if what you're trying to say is, hey, listen, I want to provide this thing for you, but I have to be honest. I'm a little scared and feeling a little abandoned by the prospect of you completely, detaching from attuning to me. Because as we both know, I'm kind of an unstable bitch, and as an unstable bitch, I need you to be somewhat more attuned to me than you normally.
See, this is like the really weird thing. It's like this respectability. He made a similar argument to this before, and it's like it's so fucking stupid. Before, when I watched that other video, he was saying something to her along the lines of like, she's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And he was going after her because she didn't say it the right way. He was like, what you should have said is, hey, listen, I understand that you're trying to do this really great art project, when he was talking about like doing their fucking like video together. But maybe some part of it makes me upset. I get that. I want to be supportive, but it kind of upsets me. Like, he wants her to be like, so it's not that she's not controlling in the right way. She's not stroking his ego enough. And she's not taking enough of the blame for not wanting to be put in a situation that nobody would want to be put in. Right? He has an unrealistic expectation of, hey, let's have a conversation on stream where I didn't even tell you we're going to have this conversation, by the way, about how, like, I'm creating a sexual relationship contract. Right? That's what he did. He's like, yeah, we're just going to talk about your experience with the doll, which has already seemed like a boundary pusher for her. And then what he did is he fucking shanghaied her, and she's like, okay, he goes, I actually want to talk about making a contract, a sexual contract with no prompt on camera And then when she's like, I don't really want to do this, he's like, oh, well, you didn't tell me you didn't want to do this in the right way. Like this is the thing. To me, I interpret this as it's always going to be a shifting of the goalpost. He's always going to be able to supply us with a hypothetical scenario where like, well, if she just did it this way, it would have been okay. Regardless of what happens. Like that just seems he's always going to be able to supply that. And it's always going to be, and if she did do that, I doubt that he would accept it, and he would just shift the goalposts even further. Like she would have had, this time she would have had to get on her hands and knees. Bro, he's just a fucking manipulative person. Once you identify that, which we've already seen, then you realize everything that he's saying comes through like a manipulative lens. We're giving far too much the benefit of the doubt of this person.
Feel like you should be, and this is a constant power struggle between us. So I want to try to work out with you what level of attunement we're going to have.
Yeah, and he calls his girlfriend like a manipulative, abusive person. I'm pretty sure he said that like alive on that fucking video. So like this is a situation where he's acting like manipulative and abusive. And then he's like, no, but that's actually her. Okay, great. Like, what a great deflection. You know, it's fucking ridiculous.
For how long you're going to be not attuning to me. And this is something I'd like to work on, you know, maybe in a couple of years or something. I'll be able to just say yes to what you're asking. But right now, you're asking me to take care of myself. But the fact is, I don't really know how to do that. I'm not very good at it. And so here's what I need from you. And then come up with a list of demands or counter proposal or whatever. Or say, you know, this is something we could work towards. I can't do it right now, though. I'm really not ready. Any of that would be just great. My problem is not in that conversation. My problem was not her saying no, because she didn't say no. She didn't say yes. She didn't say no.
Okay, if this was true, why wouldn't you just say this to her? Yeah, you know what? If you're not ready for it, we don't have to do it. That's not the energy at all that we're getting. It just seems like you're just constantly berating her, and then when she gives you an answer, it's not good enough. And you like the way that you're describing it, oh, you're so reasonable. This isn't the way that you interacted with her. Like it's just like it's like a fucking gaslight.
She didn't say yes to the conversation. She didn't say no to the conversation.
Yeah, okay.
She just leaves me in this hell.
Yeah. So what do you think is happening? What do you think is the problem? It's pretty simple, I think.
I think there was a problem where the conversation about the interview, I think, is a metaphor for
just the fact that in the interview she said she didn't want any of that to be posted, and he still posted it, is annoying to me. And I guarantee you that he eventually just berated her until she said, "Okay, fine, you can post it." That's the thing. I guarantee you. Okay, I could be wrong, but I don't think that I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. He put her in a situation where she got really upset, and then after she was like, "Please don't post this," and then she said that in the video, and then later he's like, "Oh, we should post it. It's this, is that. Oh, you know how hard I work for this art project, right?" Because he thinks he's very artistic. Guarantee you that's the interaction. So he forces her to like go past another boundary that she doesn't want to go past, and now it's to the point where she doesn't want to talk about this situation publicly. Like she's being used as like a fucking like an art project, as like an experiment. It's fucking crazy.
Feels during sex, and she doesn't
explicitly think. Too complicated. So this is my feeling. You can tell me if you think about it wrong, okay? I feel like her problem is that she doesn't know where she wants to set her boundaries, and she's kind of hoping that you'll help her figure that out. And you're frustrated because you're not having a conversation with her trying to figure out where her boundaries are. You're making an ask, and you want her to already come to the table with that solved. Like, you want her to be able to come to the table and say, like, yes or no. Don't ask me these dumb fucking questions, Shaylin. We don't need to have this other random shit. Just tell me what you want or tell me what you don't want, and then boom. But she's coming to you, yeah, we're in a bit more of a undecided state, and her trying to navigate her feelings and yours simultaneously are different when she's trying to, because she's trying to advocate on her behalf and your behalf.
But you give these women so much charity.
Actually, I think that was a pretty decent interpretation listening to that. The fact that you said you give these women so much charity is bizarre. Like, you're asking to do something that seems like, well, very fucking boundary pushing, but it's very uncomfortable, and you don't want to help her navigate that. Like, that'd be like if I was like, let's say I wanted to have like anal with my wife, and I'm like, I want to fuck you in the ass, tell me yes or no. You know I like it, and so I don't want you to enjoy it. And then she's just like, oh, well, you know, let's try to navigate the way that I feel about that. And I'm like, no, I want you to already know how you feel about it, but I also want a yes. And if you say yes now, this is just how it's going to be, and we're going to do it in contractually. Like, even if you're not in the mood for this, you've already told me once a month. We've already created the stipulation that's once a month. You have to adhere to that. That is like an objective fact. Like, that's just how we're going to do these things now. That's what it sounds a lot more like.
No, actually, I'll be totally honest with you. I literally just had this huge problem like 3 days ago in my relationship where I'm really bad at asserting boundaries. And I literally just, now I can speak from Shaylin's perspective. I literally had the exact same issue where I'll have problems where people will, here's a personal thing that I've just recently figured this out. I don't know how the fuck it took me so long. But when I get into conflicts in relationships, my thing is usually I'll withdraw or I'll start lying. These are the two things that I'll do because I just don't want to like interface with the person. They're irritating me. And what I found out was that there are some boundaries that I have in a relationship. Now, usually these are more passive, like don't ask me this or don't talk about this or act this or do this particular thing, right? And this is like a need that I have. That before I thought I didn't care, but now I'm like, actually I have this need. But when the other person isn't aware that those boundaries exist, they're just kind of existing in a state where they're kind of pushing, pulling, trying to figure shit out, and then I'm getting triggered, and now everything is getting fucked up because I'm not doing a good job at asserting boundaries, right? So oftentimes in relationships, people will blame the aggressor when in reality, the person failing to assert themselves can be just as much responsible for everything else, because their lack of having clear boundaries means that the other person doesn't know when to push and not push. The other person doesn't know what's safe to go into, and then the person with the boundaries doesn't know how to negotiate.
It's insane that like he's being just the framing of this is fucking. I understand what he's saying, but this just doesn't apply to MrGirl. He's being a fucking piece of shit. But okay, sure.
Any interactions because they're randomly getting upset at things as well, right?
I understand what you're saying about yourself,
Okay.
and I believe you.
But you don't think Shaylin has trouble asserting her boundaries?
Shaylin is not like you in this sense.
Okay.
I think you're assuming that Shaylin is trying to figure out what her boundaries are and then assert them, and that I don't believe that it's happening. I believe that Shaylin and many of these other women that you and I come across and disagree about get a lot of power by not having boundaries and not asserting those boundaries. Because when you tell someone your boundary, what you're also you're not.
What he's trying to say is that these women not setting boundaries, they're being manipulative. Based, very base take, very incredible. What an incredible take. What are you talking about? This is fucking psychotic. This is a situation where there's nothing that a normal person can do to be perceived as doing the right thing. Like, women are just fucking idiots regardless, and anytime they don't assert power, it's always like a power grab from their point. Like, they're always trying to like emasculate him. Maybe that's where it all comes from. Maybe he thinks that every interaction he has with a woman is in some capacity emasculating. Very clearly he has like a problem. Well, he's not a real man because he's a fucking abusive person. You can't be a real man if you're abusive to women. Is that where it comes from? Like his like fucking issues where he just feels like he's not a real man? You know, why does your partner have to, like, your whole logic like turns on you? Like, you don't know how to deal with the fact that you constantly think that your masculinity is questioned. That's a you problem. And yet you're asserting that onto her every single time and making it seem like she doesn't know what she wants. It's fucking bizarre, dude. I mean, what is, Jesus Christ?
Not just saying everything on this side of the line is not okay. You're also saying everything on this side of the line is okay.
Yes.
And so all these other tools you have, like arguing and figuring things out and explaining and writing narratives and co-authoring narratives and problem solving and all these other ways that you exert power and get power in relationships and conversations. Shaylin, as you saw, Shaylin got angry and did use those. She does have those tools, but that's not where she gets most of her power. Shaylin gets her power from the dark arts. She's on the dark side. And when she, so to me, things like setting boundaries, so like lying and withdrawing, I would say those are dark side powers that you're using.
Sure.
Light side powers are more like setting boundaries, problem solving, arguing, saying what you want, being explicit and direct and above board. Shaylin gets a lot of her strength now from the dark side. So she does things like not setting boundaries, asking questions that make no sense.
Bro, this is like a borderline cultist speech. Like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, this is like a religious cultist speech. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, he's turning like Star Wars into like incel Star Wars logic. This is fucking insane.
Pretending to be confused,
Yeah, but like,
sobbing loudly from the other room.
Yeah, I agree, but like, sure. But
she's not trying to figure out what you're just assuming this like extremely well-intentioned like goal of hers, but she doesn't. I'm
not saying that there's like this intentional, like something that she said. So
I remember he said something about how she tries to make him look abusive when they have videos together. But he is abusive. Like, that's just a fact. So what it seems like to me, and this actually seems pretty consistent with who he is, it seems like he has this idea. Like, he has a perspective really on the world. And if you don't align with it, it's your fault. So like, what I'm trying to say is, the boss invisible? What the fuck? Oh, okay. Weird. I'm fucking super confused right now. Sorry. What he's trying to say is that like he's being abusive to get what he wants, but he doesn't perceive it that way because he doesn't think that he can do anything wrong. And so he puts her in this situation, and because he comes off as abusive by trying to express himself because he is abusive, that's somehow her fault for not giving him what he wants. So she makes him look abusive by him being abusive. It's so fucking bizarre. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's the energy I'm getting here.
this is why I think that she is doing this. She made a statement when you guys were talking, saying that like she feels like she has to do this. She feels like she has to make a decision, and you're like,
yeah,
and you don't know like why. Why do you feel that way? Like, it seems like you're asking her, like, what do you mean you have to do this? What do you think she means when she's saying that? Like,
he's forcing her to make a decision. That's why he's asking her what she means.
I think she is saying, in order to maintain the image
I can't deal with this
that I want on your channel and with your fans.
No, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you think that, then there's like, because I'm interpreting everything both of you are saying in like the best.
So he thinks that she's being so bad faith that to just break up with her. Then there's literally no reason that you should be with her. If you think that she like when she frames these things, it's some manipulation tactic to make you look bad in front of your like fucking fans. Like that's fucking psychotic that you think that. Just leave this fucking person then. If you truly believe that, if you actually are being like unironic about that, just leave her. Like that's insane.
Best light possible. But if you think she's just saying,
I know, no, you're interpreting everything she says in the best light possible.
No, both of you. This would be a way different conversation if I was not being charitable to you as well. Okay.
She's a demon.
You're pretty demonic as well. If I was to interpret you, so. Absolutely.
So somebody has said this like 4 times in chat. I'll read it for you, okay? Someone asked MrGirl why he doesn't leave her. Someone asked MrGirl why doesn't he leave? Is he... What the fuck? MrGirl, why doesn't he leave? Is he calls his girlfriend abusive? Okay, if. You could have at least spell checked if you're going to send it to me 6 times. If he calls his girlfriend abusive and a demon, and his response is there's always going to be conflict in a relationship. See, this is what I'm talking about. He does this a lot, where like there'll be a situation that's presented, and then he'll apply fundamental logic to his like very extreme scenario. Like he's done it so many times. I'll point it out again next time he does it. But he's like a pattern of him doing this, where he's like, yeah, but fundamentally, it's like yes, fundamentally, but that doesn't mean it applies here. Well, you're talking about fundamentals when you're proposing like a hyper outlier. Why don't you just leave her? Like he should, or she should really leave him too. I don't really understand why she stays with him. Which is one of the questions I asked. Like, does he? I wonder if he actually disconnected her from her friends and from her family in order to have this situation where it's just the two of them together. I wonder if that's something that he's done.
I don't think so.
Absolutely,
no.
for sure. You're very charismatic. You have a really good way of spinning every single emotional complaint she makes into a hypothetical attack against you that then becomes an attack that you can use against her.
Why would you call him? Why are you calling him charismatic for that? That's manipulative. It's abusive. What are you talking about? I mean, listen, I'm sure he's just trying to keep the conversation going, I guess, but like, holy fuck, just tell him like, yeah, that's not charisma, that's manipulation. Like, what the fuck are these framing to me? It's just bizarre to me. It's bizarre. It's fucking crazy. Okay.
You constantly undermine her feelings by either saying that she doesn't truly believe the things she does for the reasons that she says she does.
Maybe I'm getting too triggered.
Or that she's just using it to like control you. And then when she has an emotional outburst, you also assume that that's a form of manipulation. And then you manipulate her by pretending she's manipulating you. And then you bring it all back at the end with like either like a hug or something else, like, oh, look, we're good, it's cool, or whatever. Right? These are all like theoretically, if I frame it that way, these are all theoretically like emotionally manipulative.
I guess, but it doesn't make any sense. Like you can do that, but it doesn't make any sense because she agreed to the plan immediately.
No, but that's
without
like,
complaint.
you understand, this is why I don't like conversation about rape, okay? It's so easy.
No, she didn't. Not at all. She didn't even want to have the conversation. She expressed that. Is this guy fucking dumb? I would ask if he's autistic, but I feel like that's just like insulting autistic people. I think that he's just fucking, he's like a sociopath or something, or he's like psychotic. Like he just doesn't care about people.
To get people to do things that they don't want to do, that they will agree to it. That's why I don't like the concept of like consent, or even enthusiastic consent. There are so many things that you can get people to agree to without them.
I agree with
Would I talk to MrGirl about the opportunity? I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to. Like I don't know what the benefit would be. He's a worthless piece of shit. Like he's not a good person, and he's not a real man. Like he's like a dog shit individual. Like he's worthless. So I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I don't know if I'd want to. I'm gonna tell him that you're like abusive piece of shit. Like what am I gonna do? And it's gonna be a conversation where he's going to engage in a way where like he already knows what to say to try to make it to phrase it in a better way. Even though he's like wholly inaccurate about his phrasing. For what? So that like he can get like a dunk on me, or he thinks he gets a dunk on me from his dumb fuck like abusive audience of people who don't respect women. Like I don't really know what would be the benefit here. Watching his videos and seeing how he acts when he's not prompted by another person, when he's not like interacting with another person, is more revealing than anything else. There's nothing to press him on in a conversation because he's just a manipulative person. So like I don't think it would really be beneficial to do any of this. We were literally observing him in his natural state here. So, you know.
There.
Yeah, so like...
But in this conversation, the conversation did not break down when I asked her the question. The conversation broke down when I would not let go of calling her controlling.
But her method of controlling was her trying to get some control over like her emotions in that situation and how you were engaging with them. That was where the control was.
And the way she was trying to get control over that was by asking nonsensical questions.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if somebody is looking for, if we can, like,
but that's my whole problem.
Sure, but like, let's say instead we take a more impressionistic view of language and not like a discrete, like, these are the words you're saying. It sounds like what she's saying there. She's not saying like, can we figure out the dates of the month that this would be the most adequate time for you to free use my body? What she's doing is like, saying like, hey, okay, I think I can do this, but I feel like really emotional right now, and I want some sort of like emotional reassurance from you that we're like on the same page. That's what she's looking for. Yeah,
I know. We both understand that.
Then why can't you just do that or give that to her?
Because I don't fucking want to. That's the whole thing I'm saying in the first place. Is I don't want to change my entire lens for looking at language to an impressionistic one, so that I can give you squeeze some extra fucking charity juice out of myself to make it okay for you to underhandedly try to get me to reassure you.
Underhanded.
It is absolutely underhanded. It is absolutely underhanded to ask a fake question to get somebody to take care of you. I think it's completely underhanded, at least for me. Okay, so maybe
if I go to like a doctor, if I go to like a doctor, if I've got a thing coming up, right, and I'm sitting there and I ask something, and I'm like, is this gonna hurt? What a fucking stupid question. Like, like if you were a doctor, you would look at me and you would go, this is a fucking cancer biopsy, Steven. Is it gonna hurt? If I say yes, you're gonna fucking cancel the operation, you stupid fuck. Why would you even ask me? Such a waste of fucking time, right? That's what you're saying. And I would say, okay, well, I was just like looking for a little bit of emotional reassurance. I'm sorry, right? That would be the issue.
I understand how to do what you're asking me to do.
Yeah, sure.
I'm saying I don't want to. I don't want to take care of Shaylin. I don't want to be her fucking doctor. I want to fuck her corpse. I don't want to be her doctor. The whole point of the conversation is...
Yeah, see, there you go. He's a fucking rapist, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't want to have to lie.
I'm pretty sure we're at a point now where like he would probably rape somebody if he could get away with it, but like he doesn't feel like it's socially acceptable, so he changes. So he won't just outright say it, you know,
to you or manage you. I don't want to manage your feelings in this conversation. I don't want to manage them. Okay, one thing I've been saying to her a lot is, when you want me to parent you, I need you to explicitly ask me to parent you. I don't want you to try to get me to.
Yeah, but even at that, you need to use different words because nobody wants to feel like she's not really asking to parent you. She's just asking for some help.
She is. No, it's
from
fine.
your perspective. But from other people's perspectives, they're gonna say, I just want you to be a normal, caring partner that's like has an investment in my feelings.
Fuck that. No, so I don't want appeals to normality. See, this is what I see in a lot of responses to this.
Interesting. So like, no, what Destiny is saying makes a lot of sense. Like she's asking for very normal human things, and he berates her by calling it childish in some capacity. I don't want to parent you. It's not really parenting. That's just like a normal person. That's like, hey, it's just normal human interaction. No, it's parenting. Like that's effectively what's happening here. It's fucking crazy. Why is this at 25K now when it was 20? Okay.
This. I see people just being like, well, why can't you just be normal? I'm like, well, okay, being normal means the man just parents the woman. That's what you mean by normal. That's what the default is. And I don't want that. I don't want that for my relationship.
The reason why, that's great. And I said the exact same things to Belina. She'll say like, hey, like, this is like a normal thing. Why can't you do this? And I'll say, well, if you want a normal thing, go find a normal guy because that's not what the fuck I'm here for. So I understand. I can empathize with you there. But you have to be aware of where the normal spectrum lies so that you can understand when you're making requests that are way outside the norm.
I absolutely understand that I am making a request that is outside the norm. And when I say, it's
not even just outside the norm. It's like way outside the norm.
Friend wants me to become her dad. She has to actually know that that's what she is doing and say that. And so
if
she had said in the conversation, hey, can you take care of me for a second? I feel freaked out about this. I might have said yes.
You wouldn't have said yes. Again, it's a goal shift. I might have been reasonable if she was like, yes, if she's like hyper aware of everything about me, if she does the exact thing I want, if she expresses her emotions exactly how I'm saying I want, it wouldn't happen. No, it wouldn't have. Like you're shifting the goalpost. There's no winning solution for her. Ever. This is fucking stupid as shit.
Or I might have said no. I would have been free to say no, or yes, as I see fit. I would have been able to set my own boundaries. But by blurring her request and by saying, no, you've already agreed to this. You've already agreed to take care of me. And the way I'm going to ask you is by asking stupid questions that make no sense and sobbing in the other room. No. Then I don't want to. I need explicitness.
Sure, I understand. I think that the realization that you have to have then is that what you're looking for, one, she might not be able to even rise to that standard. I don't even say rise.
She did.
No, she
didn't.
She
eventually did.
After crying in another room and trying to manipulate you.
Yes, if you want to, yes, she did a lot of horrible things that nobody's proud of in the conversation. But at the end of the conversation, I held my boundaries.
Sorry, hold on.
I don't even say rise.
She did.
No, she didn't.
But she eventually did.
After crying in another room and trying to manipulate you.
Yes, if you want to, yes, she did a lot of horrible things that.
Bro, she did a lot of horrible things.
Nobody's proud of in the conversation.
I don't know if he's joking or not. I don't know if he's serious about that. Maybe he's like mocking himself. I don't know if either he's aware that he was the one doing really horrible things in that situation, or he legitimately and like he's joking about it, or he is talking about how she actually did like horrible things. Either way, like he knows he's in the wrong. So I don't really understand why. Like I don't really get it. He knows he's in the wrong regardless. So his whole fucking perspective is insane. Fuck.
But at the end of the conversation, I held my boundaries. I didn't rush to the other room and say, hey, eventually.
I held my boundaries. Like, he's such a fucking victim. He held the boundaries. Like, what are you talking about? You forced her to go beyond her boundaries through, like, a way where she's not comfortable with it at all.
She, was naked, face down on the bed, just like I asked.
But I don't, if you were to ask her, does she think that there was a positive resolution to everything? Do you think she would say yes?
No, because I got what I want. I don't know what she would say.
Is there? Well, but isn't that
and
like important?
I'm so happy that I don't know what she would say. I feel so proud of myself that I I can have my own narrative of what happened
Christ.
that is not dependent on hers, and she can have her own narrative.
Okay.
That's what I want. What I want is to just like have something be for me.
Sure.
And the only way we can do that is if Shaylin delineates when something is for her. So she has to be more explicit about when something is for her and what role she wants me to play and what role she wants to play. And the more vague she is, the more power the underhanded person gets and the less power the explicit person gets. I don't want her to derive power from being vague. It's a super bad idea, especially around sex.
I
But in
agree
general,
that it's a bad idea, but the problem isn't that she's like intentionally trying to
You think
manipulate
she's
you.
not capable of anything? Well, she's going to have
Not
to.
right now. No, I don't think so. I think that there's like a set of tools that she hasn't developed yet when it comes to establishing.
It's so interesting because Destiny is probably the biggest pusher of like we have to stop treating women like they're dumb babies, right? Like when it comes to the conversation about sexual assault, like women can still affirm boundaries, and I tend to agree with it. But it sounds like MrGirl has taken that and he's weaponized it. Like he takes these fundamental arguments, like sometimes like women can affirm boundaries. There are situations where they can feel unsafe, and absolutely 100%. But women do need to affirm boundaries, and that's Destiny's basic idea. And it seems like MrGirl has taken that and he's run with it in a way where it becomes like where he's using it as an excuse to not care at all about women. Like it's just like this is literally what people warned like Destiny about, of like actual fucking like pieces of shit weaponizing what he's trying to say, and using that to fucking like hurt people, which is basically what's happening. I wholly agree. I wholly believe that.
Boundaries, and because of that, you're able to take advantage of her inability to do that. I think that's the issue.
Oh, you think she's taking advantage of me?
No, because in this situation, you said you got what you wanted at the end, so she wasn't here.
Yeah, after hours of what I think is abusive and coercive behavior, eventually she was able to have a explicit, direct conversation with
Who is like her being abusive? I don't think he thinks he was being abusive. He was, and coercive. Is like what? I don't Jesus Christ. What commentary could I give it anymore? Like this is fucking insane.
Now, I'm not saying she has to be perfect. I am okay with her reaching for these dark side tools, and me having to say like, hey, I need you to stop doing that. And I'm okay with people thinking I'm a bad person. Well, I would rather they didn't, but I can withstand people thinking I'm a bad person.
Well, you are a bad person.
Or that I'm an abuser, because I don't want to engage with somebody using these manipulation tactics on me.
This is incredible.
But eventually, if I hold my ground long enough, eventually
she'll break down. She'll lose the ability to advocate for her own interests, and she'll acquiesce to whatever your demands are. Does that sound a little bit not good?
No, because my demand is just that she come up with an answer. I'm not asking her to acquiesce to my sex demands.
But that's what it feels like to her. That's why she's saying.
No, it's not. That's where you're wrong.
But she was literally saying,
everybody.
she's saying, you're pressuring me. And you're like, how am I pressuring you? She says, you're trying to pressure me into doing what you want me to do. That's what she's saying. I wrote the quote down. But you're not really, right? You said you'd be happy with either answer, but she doesn't feel that way. That's the issue.
I understand.
Well, it's because he's lying. He wouldn't be happy with either answer. He's just saying that's because he knows that's what you want to hear. That's the whole thing.
I get what you're saying. When she says that, it's not true.
Okay.
It's just not true.
So she doesn't feel pressured at all. She's lying about that.
She may think she feels pressured. But,
Okay, so she's lying to herself.
But if you look at her behavior through the conversation,
So what's interesting is that he's constantly saying that Destiny thinks that girls are like too dumb or whatever. But like he thinks that she's too dumb. She's like, well, no, that's not what she's actually saying. Like she's too stupid to interpret her own emotions. Is that like what you're saying here? This is fucking incredible.
the thing that makes her freak out is me saying, I think you're being controlling. I think you're being abusive, and I need you to be explicit.
Yeah, because you're gaslighting her. You're being controlling and abusive, and then you're gaslighting her. That, of course, people are going to get upset by that. Like, is that a hot take to you? I don't fucking get it. Well,
About what you are saying. I need you to either explicitly say yes, explicitly say no, explicitly say you want to have this conversation, explicitly say you don't want to have this conversation.
Why do you think she's...
I even went as far as telling her exactly what she could say word for word to get out of the conversation.
Sure. When you said that she was upset, and that because you said that she was being controlling and abusive, why did that make her more upset? Why did she get really upset about that?
Because I'm taking her power away. When you call an abusive person abusive, you are demanding a transfer of power.
Yeah, let's
from them to
rephrase
you.
that a little bit more. Okay, taking her. So you're making her feel powerless in this interaction, right?
Yeah, because a lot of
somebody
feeling
claims
power,
that you're
a lot of-
pressuring them, and now you are depriving them of any power or agency in an interaction. Of course.
No.
emotional.
That's I can understand that could be her feeling.
This
If
is
the only
That's
way
all that matters at the end of the day is how she feels.
if the
about
only
it,
way
right?
if the only way you can express yourself is by throwing dishes at Melina, and then Melina says stop throwing dishes at me, you may feel, oh well, now you've rendered me entirely powerless because I can't talk about my feelings, I can't set boundaries, I can't negotiate with you, I can't be direct. All I have is this like plate of like spaghetti I was about to throw at you. Like, yes, I guess in a way she would be telling you have no power, but I think that's not a fair interpretation.
Yeah, but
I'm fucking flabbergasted. So, like, bro, I don't even know how to respond to that. Holy fuck.
But imagine if throwing dishes was the only tool that I had. Now it sounds like a weird example.
Then
but
you have to-
here's
then
a
you have to
question.
learn-
Sure, here's a
you have to
question.
learn another way
Let's say
to
the
get
only way.
power.
Let's say the only way I could get anything done is by screaming at people, right?
Yeah, and so eventually you may run into a partner who says like, I need you to stop screaming at me, and
Sure.
if that's the only way you have of advocating for yourself.
But if we have
you're not going to be able to advocate for
if you
yourself.
have a literal baby and all they know is to scream, you work
Shaylin
around that.
is not
right?
my child.
She's
She's not my
not.
patient.
But if she doesn't have the tools necessary to firmly establish a boundary and then talk around it, then all you're kind of doing is like taking away the only. Like,
I'm trying to process and see, is he is he saying that, like, is he defending the person throwing the plate? Is that where his defensible position is? That's what I'm trying to understand here. Okay.
You're duct taping a baby's mouth shut and saying, figure out another way to do this.
I'm not duct taping a baby's mouth shut by asking my adult girlfriend to learn how to set boundaries like a fucking normal.
If you wanted to learn how to set boundaries, then you don't figure that out in the middle of a negotiation about things that the boundaries would be about.
So what are you suggesting I do? I say, like, you're asking me to drop my boundaries, and I don't want to.
I'm saying send her to
Absolutely.
therapy. Say go to therapy.
Okay, but in the meantime, yes, we're starting couples therapy.
Cool.
In the meantime, you're suggesting I just drop. I'm saying she was breaking my boundaries in the conversation repeatedly. That every time we hit a snag, it's because I'm saying I don't want to communicate this way.
You can't aggressively assert a boundary like that and say that my boundary is that when we're discussing something that I want, you're not allowed to obfuscate with questions. That's not a boundary.
No,
you have like a force field that's going into their brain. Okay.
No. That's not the boundary. She can do that, but I am going to then derail the conversation and only talk about it until she stops. So I'm saying I won't participate in the conversation. I won't participate in a conversation where you're saying, I don't know if I want to be talking about this. I'm not sure. That is going to break the negotiation. Then stops. There was no more talk about sex after that. Then the only conversation we can have is, well, are you in the conversation? Are you out? Or are you making a power play by having one foot out the door? And if it's that one, that's all we're going to talk about for the rest of the conversation. I refuse to budge. Wait, stop. Okay. You admit that this is me setting a boundary. I'm not reaching into her brain. I'm just saying I'm going to flail and not fucking move an inch until you stop doing this.
It feels like you're the one that's more.
So he's basically saying he's going to throw a temper tantrum until he gets what he wants. I think that's the exact way that I'm interpreting this. This is really impressive stuff, Max. I don't know how, but my thing here is that, like, what bothers me the most is that his confidence to admit this. Like, he thinks that he's correct. I think that's the most fucking insane part here, is that he thinks he has a defensible position. Like, he actually thinks that he's right. That's the part that's, like, the most mind-blowing to me, I think, more than anything else. I'm trying to get this, like, right in here.
Emotionally composed in this situation, and the other person is flailing, and every time they're trying to, like, they're like sliding off a mountain trying to grab a ledge, and every time they grab something, you're like, that's abuse, that's controlling, you're gaslighting. And it's like the other person isn't trying to do that, they're just trying to get their footing somewhere.
That's how all abusers feel.
She's not the abuser in this interaction. You're the one making the ask.
She is the abuser.
I think that you're the one making the ask for something that's.
Just call him an abuser. He's the abuser here. Just tell him he's the fucking abusive. Like, even if you want to be a nice boy and be like, you're not an abuser, but you're being abusive. Like, you want to do, like, one of those dumb fucking things. Like, at least that. Like, he's a fucking piece of shit. Holy fuck. Maybe Destiny's trying to keep the dialogue open. Maybe he's like, maybe I can save Mr. Girl so I can save the girl that he's abusing. You know what I mean? Maybe that's where Destiny's coming from. Possible. Maybe he's just trying to keep the dialogue open so that he can maybe be able to have an impact that'll make her more safe. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. Maybe that's why he's not being, like, explicit about it. You know, maybe I'm just too much of a triggered liberal here. You know, I don't know.
It's making her uncomfortable for some reason. You have to figure out why.
Abusers, okay, having been abusive in various interactions, I know what it feels like when you resort to an abusive tactic.
Sure.
I've been abusive with Shaylin recently. Like, I've screamed at Shaylin.
But I
know that when I'm doing that, I feel like I'm sliding down a mountain and grabbing on to whatever I can.
I think that there's a difference.
That doesn't mean not abuse.
I think there's a difference between an abusive tactic that somebody uses to get control of themselves or to feel like they have presence in a situation versus an abusive tactic somebody might use to get something out of somebody else, right?
I don't know if that's true. I think, in my experience, every time
trying to think, because it seems like to an extent I'm trying to, like, the most benefit of the doubt that I can say here is that Mr. Girl doesn't actually understand. He might actually be autistic. Maybe that's just okay, whatever. Okay, doesn't matter. Sorry, just give me a second. I know what I want to say. I just need to articulate this. So Mr. Girl has identified abusive behavior. From what I've seen, it seems like the only reason he disconnects from abusive behavior is because it doesn't get him what he wants. Well, at least hitting, but he still maintains some level of abuse. I wonder if he actually thinks that because he stopped doing some of the abusive behavior, that he may not even necessarily categorize as abusive, but other people would and have told him that if he thinks he's not being abusive. I don't know if that makes any sense. But, like, what I'm trying to say is, does he think that he's actually not abusive, and then he's taking things that he does, and he's literally projecting himself onto this girl, saying, like, she's being abused because she's doing some things that might be in the vicinity of things I would do when I would be abusive. I think he's, like, projecting. He's, like, hardcore projecting on her, obviously. I mean, that's a fact, I think, at this point. Jesus Christ.
I've never screamed at a girlfriend to try to make them do something. I'm always screaming at them to try to get some.
Well, you hit them. You've hit them before, so okay.
of control. It's out of fucking panic. It's not out of like, you better fucking lie still for me, you little bitch. That's not the emotion I'm
Here's
feeling.
let's say Melina really wants to get dinner at a place. Okay, I really want to go to Fogo de Chao. I'm like, we're not going to Fogo de Chao. I don't feel like spending $200 on dinner. And then she starts sobbing and crying. Okay, this is a little bit abusive. What the fuck, dude? Are you serious? We're gonna do this, right? Okay. Let's say there's a different relationship, and I beat the shit out of her every time I lose a game of League. Okay, so she's gonna beat up a lot. Okay.
It sounds like a pretty typical League of Legends player, for being honest here.
Let's say that one day I come walking out of my room and I look like I've been playing League, but I haven't. I've been playing a different game, so I'm not a miserable fuck. But she sees me, and as soon as she sees me, she starts like crying to get me to feel bad. Like, is she technically being abusive there by trying to manipulate me with her emotions? A little bit, but it's way different.
Why would that be? Why would that be abusive if she thinks that you're actually mad? Okay. I think he's trying to empathize with him, but like, well, it doesn't even add up to me. But okay.
And
sure,
the Fogo de
context
Chao
changes.
thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's a difference between being reactive in terms of how you're retreating in a conversation in an underhanded manner versus like proactively trying to get something, elicit something, extract something from somebody else. I think these are fundamentally different. And to call all of it abusive, I think misses the point of what's actually happening. We're missing what's going on in the interaction. Like, if Shanlin were to come to you and she were to be like, hey, like, I really want to peg you tomorrow, and you're like, I don't know, and she's like, okay, this is bullshit. Like, you're not hearing, I don't feel seen, but you're like, well, you know, she's like, no, like, I don't know. Right?
I would never react that way.
That's great. Hold on, I don't care how you react. But I'm saying in that case, if she was using the same tactics, but she was making the big ask, then I'd say like, okay, yeah, this is like pretty shitty or abusive. I can see that.
Okay, but that's not what happened though. The analogy would be if I said, yes, you can peg me tomorrow. I just want to ask you though, what time tomorrow? And she's like, well, it's not. I'm just trying to ask you if I can peg you tomorrow. And I'm like, well, what time would it be at? And I get this like very frantic, like, I just want to know what time. Is it too much to ask to just know what time it's going to be tomorrow? And then she's like, well, I feel like you're kind of making this about you now, where you're acting as though you're really concerned about what time it's going to be, as if that's like, would it make a difference what time it was? And I'm like, no, it wouldn't make a difference. And she's like, okay, well then I feel like you're kind of being controlling by asking this. And I'm like, how is this controlling? And then I run to the other room and start crying. That would be the analogy.
What?
So you keep acting like she said she wasn't sure, but she did not freak out until I said.
She doesn't seem to be sure. She might not have said she wasn't sure, but all of her emotional languages, all of her body language and nonverbal cues are like saying a different story, right?
I think you have a highly charitable read of her body language, and that.
I'm just trying to think for a second. Because he thinks that she's being abusive by asking what time, as if it's some kind of a power grab. Like, what does he think? I don't understand. Like, I just don't understand. It's so hard to even understand what he's saying, because I don't think that any normal person interacts like this. And we know he projects. So there's some times where, like, to me, this signals that there are times where people try to set like a plan with him, and then he tries to take control of the situation by like asking them when, or asking them in a way to take control of it. Like, this doesn't make any sense.
That you think she's unsure about the sex, and I think she's unsure about saying things are okay, making agreements, sticking to things, losing the power of ambiguity and vagueness, losing the power of being able to say retroactively, you know what, I wasn't okay with any of this. I retroactively do not consent to everything.
Bro, holy fuck. That just proves it's so funny. So remember before I was saying, like, it seems like he's putting her into a situation where, like, she's not allowed to be able to say no? That proves it right there. He's actually just afraid that he wants to create a sexual contract where, like, he gets to do whatever he wants to her and she can't rescind her consent. He wants to actually rape her. He's worried that she'll rescind consent. You are able to take away consent at any moment, at any time, in any sexual interaction, 100%. That's it. He doesn't want her to be able to back out. So he's trying to force her into this situation where, like, she says absolutely yes, even though she doesn't want to say yes, very clearly to me at least. And he doesn't want her to have the ability to, like, walk it back later. This is fucking insane. Like, what a fucking scumbag. Holy shit. You know what's so funny? My wife was the one who said that. It's like, it seems like he wants, like, a yes, but doesn't actually want to, like, provide, but doesn't want her to be able to say no later on, because this is not how consent works. I'm like, interesting. I didn't necessarily pick up on that, but I know what you're saying. And, like, I was like, okay, that makes sense. And now, boom, that's the objective truth right there. He doesn't want her to be able to back out of it. Like, what a fucking scumbag piece of shit. Holy shit. Like, this is fucking incredible. In a bad way, obviously. Incredible in a not good way. But you know what I'm saying.
That you and I just did. And therefore, you're the abuser. Which is the entire thing I'm trying to get away from. This feeling of never knowing if the rug of me being allowed to do what I'm doing is going to be pulled out from underneath me.
Okay. Well,
she gets a lot of power from having her hands on that rug.
She gets a lot of power from being able to individually have the ability to consent. Like, that's what he's saying. I just want you to know. This is so fucked up. I'm, like, laughing because it's insane. Like he's unhinged. He's fucking deranged. This is fucking nuts, bro.
A conversation between you and her. Okay, I'm so curious what it looks like.
I know. So when you see her waffling, like, I don't know if I want to do the sex act, I see her hands reaching for the edge of that rug. She's getting it nice and taut, and she's getting ready to yank it. And so I'm doing everything I can to prevent her from doing that. I'm like, I'm like, okay,
No,
if you don't want to be in the,
like-
if you don't want to be in the video, then walk away.
What he's saying is he's removing. She's getting ready to. She's getting ready to yank the rug. She's getting ready to be able to remove consent. Like, oh my god, what a terrible thing. How horrible is it that this girl wants the ability to fucking be a person and be able to remove consent at any time? Doesn't even make sense, right? If my wife wanted to eat my ass, and I had to go into that situation, she's like, once we start, you can't stop. I would be like, well, that's fucked up. That's gonna make me not want to do it. In fact, if he actually left her room to be able to be like, hey, I want to try this type of sex, and if you don't like it, you could be like, hey, let's stop right now. She probably would be 1,000 times more into it. Isn't that the crazy part? If he actually allowed her to have consent in some capacity, then it would probably be beneficial to him. That's the fucking insane part, isn't it? It's crazy.
If
You don't have to be in the video.
I'm negotiating a sex act with somebody, and they feel like they're on the other end of it, or they're waffling, I would just interpret that as like a no. Like, if you're uncomfortable, then clearly something.
She didn't waffle about the sex act.
But she was asking all these questions about it and everything, which makes it
That's
seem
not
like...
waffle. I know. Again, you interpret that as waffling. I interpret. If just look at it from my point of view. It's fine if you don't agree with me.
What does waffling refer to? I just have to know. Like being back and forth about it. That's what it sounds like it is. To speak or write input. It's waffle on a point issue. To speak. What does equivocally mean then? Oh. Subject to two or more interpretations. Okay. I guess I get what he's saying now.
Okay.
But do you see how if I feel like Shaylin is preparing the following power moves, I never really agreed to this. I never agreed to this conversation. You sprung this conversation on me. You won't tell me.
You literally did spring the. This is so interesting. He put her into a situation where he literally, objectively sprung the conversation onto her. That's exactly what he did. 100%. That's exactly what he did. He sprung it onto her, and then he's like, "I don't want you to be able to say that we sprung it onto me or whatever." But you did. So why would you did that? Why do that thing if you don't want her to be able to use it as an excuse?
This is what happened, and any one of these can be used to pull the rug out from underneath me and say, "Oh, you say basically you raped me."
I mean, what it sounds like to me is what she's saying is that, like, I love you. I want to make you happy. I do want to do the sex act. I just want to make sure this other shit is like taken care of so that I'm like emotionally.
She's the devil, and you just don't see it. If you saw it the way I see it, can you see how in that conversation then every time I see her reaching for the rug, I'm just trying to keep her hands off it. I'm saying if you don't want to be in the conversation, then just walk out. If you don't want to do
but she doesn't want to do that because she loves you.
If you don't want to do the sex thing with me, then just say no. If you want to talk about it more later, then say, let's talk about this later. What else can we talk about? If you want to walk out of the room, walk out of the room. You have all the power as long as you do it explicitly. But what you can't do is be passive and vague and then pull the rug out from underneath me and say that I forced you to do something. That's the only thing I'm trying to prevent her from doing in the entire conversation, and I think I did a pretty good job.
Okay. Well, when are we getting Shaylin on here, Max?
I think I have to protect her from the masses.
Well, why are you doing her videos?
Because I'm a bad person. No, because I think it's different. Because in a video, I can control what happens. I can edit it. I can.
It feels weird that, like, because both of us right now have a different interpretation of her internal emotional state. And
yes. Well, Shaylin's not the best at interpreting her emotional state anyway.
No, but I feel like Shaylin would have an interesting perspective on Shaylin's internal emotional state. You know, worth considering.
She would,
maybe.
but that's I am going to protect her from live streaming.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay.
Well,
also, even if she comes on and agrees with me, it's not. You're not gonna be like, I stand corrected. You're just gonna say like, oh, I guess he got to you.
No, I would be super interested.
I mean, if she went on there and just like, yeah, you know what, everything he's saying is right about me, I obviously wouldn't take that because based on what I see, he's fucking abusive to her and manipulative. So I wouldn't doubt that he like coached her into saying that. So yeah, that is partially true, but it's for good reason that people would think that. Yeah, sorry, just doing fucking some math. Fuck.
Tons of things that she could say that would dramatically change the way that I view the situation. That's absolutely possible. Like she might say, like she could come on and she could say, I have a lot of personal problems sometimes setting boundaries. Like I have no problem doing things with Max. Sometimes I get nervous and I just like ask like stupid fucking questions that don't matter like in a week anyway. And then we get around to things like none of it ever mattered. But I don't know why I just have a habit of doing dumb shit. Like if she says shit like, okay, maybe I do dumb shit. Like I give really good advice on my stream and I follow none of it. Okay, I have a whole bunch of problems in my relationships where I just do dumb shit. So like I could believe that like people fuck up and do things. She could also say other things though that would reinforce my view. Where she's like, I don't actually like any of these sex acts at all, but like I super love Max and I feel like when he talks to me, like he's always on the verge of getting super pissed off at me. That like anytime I try to get any clarification on anything ever, he gets really mad. So I feel like I have to talk around it just to get like some emotional reassurance because I can't ask for it directly or talk about the act directly. And then that leads to him like she could say that. Like,
okay, she would be so stupid if she said. I mean,
no, she wouldn't be. She would just be expressing her emotions. Like,
but that would be so stupid because I'm literally telling her if you just say explicitly what you're feeling or what you want, then we'll be fine.
Yeah, but it doesn't
matter. Right, but
he's
not genuine about that. It just seems to be a consistent manipulation tactic that he employs to make her like seem like she's the bad guy because she won't be explicit when like she will be explicit, just not in the way that we've already talked about before. Like he's just shifting the goalpost. That's all it is.
aren't computers. You don't input code and get out a reliable response every single time, right? We work on way more abstract levels than that. Most people do. It's the more human thing to do.
I think you're too charitable to women.
It's not to women, it's to people. I do this dumb shit
I think you're too
sometimes.
charitable to women.
How? Why?
Because you're not abusive.
See,
enough
people
for
keep
me.
saying it's because you're a coomer, or it's because you're trying to fuck Brittany Simon or something. I think that's stupid. Obviously, I don't think you're trying to fuck Brittany Simon.
Okay.
I just think you're too charitable to women.
I think he could probably. I don't think that he needed. I mean, listen, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I feel like Brittany would fuck him. So I don't think that he's simping for her because of that. I mean, it seems like they would fuck. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, do your thing. Maybe put on the OnlyFans. I would actually buy it then if they fucked, just to look at it and go, wow, incredible. But it doesn't seem like I don't think that he's simping out so that he could fuck Brittany Simon. I just put them on the wrong thing.
I'm charitable to everybody. I'm being very charitable to you in this conversation.
Very charitable to him.
But you're not being too charitable to me.
Oh,
I'm being very charitable to you.
are you kidding me? Listen, from my perspective, he absolutely is being way too charitable. I've been melting down about it the whole time. So like that's emphatically incorrect. He's getting treated like a fucking baby in this conversation. And like, listen, you do you, like whatever. I mean, I'm gonna continue to melt down. Hey, everybody's happy. But like, yeah, he's being way too fucking charitable here. So what the fuck is he on about?
If I wanted to, I could have a voice conversation with you where I just call you an abuser and hang up.
Wait, but is that what you think?
And you'd be right, yeah.
There's
Yes.
a chance you could be, but I'm not leading into that as much.
Wait, but what do you think? What do you actually think?
I think I've told you what. I think
Just
that,
tell him that you think he's an abuser, because you do.
It's the nicest way I can say this. I think that some people have.
No, I don't want you to say it in the nicest way. I want to know what you actually think. Like,
Sure.
what are you going to
I think that some people are charismatic and they know how much they can get or push other people.
See, this is dude, bro. Just be like, come on, be a man. Just fucking tell him that he's like abusive. Because you know what? He respects you. Maybe he'll be like, wow, you think I'm abusive? Maybe I should change. That's entirely possible, but you're effectively failing at this point. You're just like, well, I think maybe you're really charismatic, dude. I think the world will be better off without him. How's that? I'd say that to him. Just tell him you think he's being abusive. Maybe he'll actually fucking listen for once. Maybe that's all you need to do is like stand up, like be a fucking man for once. Sorry for being say it like that, but just be not for once, but just like fucking. It's like, you know what? Yeah, I think that this is abusive behavior. Instead of tiptoeing around it to try to make it seem like he's the victim again. That's what he always wants, and that's what he always gets. It's fucking psychotic to me.
Into agreeing with, and that I think that some people can unhealthily thrive in the ambiguity of other people's personal boundaries. I used to do this in my early 20s. If I knew that somebody was waffling on something, I can always put a foot in there and force you into a position. Very, very, very easy to do that. I don't do this anymore, but I understand that feeling of like, if you're undecided, I will make the decision for you, and I know I can do that. And that's a thing that people do. And when I watch you and
Maybe it's because Destiny sees too much of himself in Matt and MrGirl, so he doesn't want to say anything because then it would be a reflection on himself. Is that what you guys are saying? Because somebody had mentioned before that Destiny sees a lot in him or something like that. I mean, I guess that's possible. I just feel like I'm being gaslit. Okay, it just feels fucking bizarre. I don't know, man. It just feels like, you know, this is an opportunity for you to like put your foot down and be like, yeah, you know what? I think this is abusive behavior, and then he might actually listen to it. That's the way that I'm interpreting it. So I'm actually doing
Shaylin
really
interact
good
sometimes.
with my phone
Shaylin's
here.
boundaries and borders seem very, very ill-defined sometimes, and you can very much like step a foot in and go, this is where your boundary is going to be. If you don't like it, tell me that you fucking hate me. You don't hate me? You do love me, right? This is your boundary. Stop being stupid. Boom, boom, boom. That's the feeling that I get when I watch you.
I feel like you're conflating two things.
Go
You're
for it.
conflating me saying what her boundary should be with me telling her she has to have one. If I was trying to just talk her into having doll sex with me once a month, when she asks what day of the month, how we're counting it, wouldn't I just say, oh, however you want to count it?
Well, yeah, because he wants to not feel guilty about it either. This is the thing, is she's never going to agree to be effectively raped, which is what he wants, without him having to feel guilt, and he doesn't want to feel the guilt of it because he doesn't want to look like a bad person, even though he's being a bad person. So that's what I get out of it. That's how I interpret it. That's what I'm extrapolating.
When
Like if I'm trying to get the goal, if that's my goal, wouldn't I just say,
There's like-
yeah, let's do it by calendar month?
Yeah, but you won't say that because you feel like she's playing a game and you don't want to play it, right?
Okay, so then the thing I'm trying to get her to do is be explicit and set.
Yeah, but here's what I'm not
specific.
sure because of the power dynamics of the because I don't know. I don't see enough right. This is why I'm honest. I don't go into like, oh, I know she's because I don't know. I don't know. But it could be the case that, and I don't know your history. Maybe she's asserted a certain boundary in the past that's really angered you, and maybe she actually does super love you or is infatuated or whatever, and she's worried that if she asserts a boundary that you don't like, you're going to react negatively, and that's where she says like, you're pressuring me, even though from your perspective you're not pressuring at all. I'm not trying to pressure you to say that. Just
Yeah, I don't
So
think
what do you?
That's it at all.
But what do you think? Are you saying you don't know?
I can only give you like degrees of probability. Like the wave function doesn't collapse
Oh, well,
until
yeah,
I
where
talk to
are
her.
you- where
I
are
just
you-
told
where
you.
are you
Like,
at?
oh, in terms of what or which part?
I don't know.
You think
What's
I'm
your-
abusive? Tell me.
what do you think
Tell me he's fucking
in this
abusive, bro.
Situation.
My thoughts don't.
Destiny, you're his father in this scenario. He respects you. And he thinks, okay, you need to tell him, yeah, you're being kind of abusive, bro. That's all you gotta do, dog. We be over and out. That's where we'd be at right now. If you would just fucking tell him, though. That's where we'd be. That's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm fucking saying.
Crystallize until I get more information. It's hard to say.
Okay.
It looks kind of abusive, but I don't know. But I don't have enough information. You guys been together for
They
a
just
while.
say it. It is abusive. It looks absolutely
So
abusive.
I think you're too charitable to women.
Okay.
Okay, great. Just gonna keep going back to that.
And not in the sense of I think you are purposefully taking a charitable view of them. I'm saying you.
You have a subconscious bias. So the reason that he wants to say this is so that he can assert that nothing that Destiny will ever say will matter. Like, he's just going to continue to double down and be like, yeah, you just like women too much. You're just a simp. You're a fucking beta male. You're this, you're that. You're all the thing. Bro, I guarantee, like, Fresh and Fit would watch it and be like, yeah, that seems kind of fucking rapey, bro. Like, you wouldn't win based on, like, anybody's standards here. Okay? I really do think if Destiny just told him something, he might actually connect. Yeah, it might. It might. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick.
When you say charitable, what you really
Well, yeah, but you think that, like, somebody giving the advice that, yeah, you should probably, like, let your partner come before you is somehow feminist when it's just, like, normal. So, yeah, of course you'd think that.
mean is like infantilizing or something, right? Or what do you mean by that?
I think the part where whenever you create a metaphor to compare my relationship to Shaylin is that she's like a baby or with duct tape over her mouth, or she's like a doctor's patient. I think that's kind of infantilizing. Not necessarily that you're infantilizing women, but that you just seem to take it for granted that like I should be parenting her. So I guess that's kind of infantilizing, but it's more like
Well, I guess when I see...
it's like you don't want to just tell her, like, well, fucking grow up.
Yeah, there's like, I guess when I see a dynamic where one person appears to be far more aggressive and confident, the other person is a little bit more wavery, I tend to... If this is the totality of, like, a person's boundaries, like this, and they're, like, wavering, like, here, I'll instantly assume it's, like, all the way on the other end. Because I'll grant that. Because, like, it could be. And I don't want to force somebody to agree to something or do something where they're not 100%, like, with both feet in the water or whatever. So it looks charitable, I guess, but...
Well, you're very charitable about the intentions of women.
Not necessarily. What do you mean? I think we actually.
Well, I'm like,
agree on
I
her
make a whole
intention.
video.
Well, you think that women are normal or human beings, and so like he doesn't really perceive it that way. He thinks that anytime a woman does anything, that she's doing it to try to be a power grab. I'm assuming he might have a past trauma, or he just has a fucking issue with interpreting actually like what's actually going on in the world. Should I have put that here? Whatever, it doesn't matter. So yeah, Destiny, you need to be more abusive to women or something, I guess.
Okay, we agree that Shaylin is manipulative and trying to get power.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. She is absolutely trying to get power.
She's not manipulative at all. We agree that she's manipulative. You're a fucking idiot. Holy
That's
shit.
always a bad thing. If somebody feels powerless in an interaction, I would expect them to try to get power. That makes sense. I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily. And if somebody is constantly vying for power, then there's two possibilities. Either one, they're an abuser or a predator, and they're trying to gain an unhealthy power, or two, they feel powerless in an exchange, and they're trying to at least feel heard or seen.
I think those are the same. I think that's
they're
what abusers
totally different. Those are.
I think that's exactly what abusers and predators are.
Okay.
Well, I
who
guess
feel powerless.
you would know, huh?
Who cannot feel powerful via normal means.
Well, that's 100% true. Like, yeah, that's you. I mean, it's very good that you understand who you are as a person. I just think that you actually think that you've changed, and you haven't. Maybe you've gaslit yourself into thinking that you're not a fucking piece of shit. Oh, dude, I just fucked up so bad. Whatever, I don't care. But yeah, you are, just so you know. So,
And so they resort to the dark arts.
Dark arts.
I disagree, but
Manipulators. I mean, if you could get all the same power by not being manipulative, why wouldn't you just do that?
well, because you're talking about a fully fleshed out, fully matured person that's able to establish health. Like this is like fucking probably less than like 2% of people on the planet are capable of like setting and respecting and having like super strong boundaries and doing that in the middle of discourse. It's a really difficult skill to pick up. Like, you have to be very deliberate.
Well, it's a spectrum.
Sure, and Jalen is obviously pretty far down on that spectrum in the opposite way that she should be.
Yes. I guess I think the way you frame it enables her to stay there.
It's not that I'm
like, I should
enabling.
just pick up the slack instead of just being like, well, yeah, we're gonna have an impact. Anytime she says the only way I'll interact with you is in a way that you think is abusive.
Well, that's because
then, like,
I'm talking to you right now. I'm telling you.
Well, why should I pick up the slack? Why aren't you saying?
Because you can't. Because I'm not talking to her. If I was talking to her, my conversation would have nothing to do with your actions. My conversation with her would be like, hey, you need to figure out your boundaries way better before you engage in a conversation with Max. You need to figure out like what's okay and what's not okay. You need to be able to communicate with him in a language that he understands. You have to like, if you feel yourself getting emotionally dysregulated, pull back from the circumstance, take an hour, and then come back. That would be my suggestions to her, right? But I'm not talking to you.
Not an hour of sobbing loudly, a silent hour.
Well, it depends on how upset she is, right?
I guess my problem is that you're asking me to enable her, and you're saying because you're saying it's bad to have conflict. Almost, it's like you're saying,
no, what?
Like I think you should be proud of me. I think you should be saying, wow, she really threw everything she could at you.
You should be. What? You think that he should be proud of you? Holy fuck! You're fucking insane, bro. I think that, dude, that's fucking nuts that you actually think that. He's expecting Destiny to be like proud of him here. This is fucking incredible. I couldn't be me, man. The fact that you'd even say I expected you to be proud of me, that's like weird that you want this other man to affirm you. Like, oh, please affirm how I feel about being like an abusive piece of shit. Please. I thought you'd be proud of me. I'm so devastated right now. Like, holy fuck, this is insane.
In a video, you know you're going to publish to the internet, so you know it's going to make you look terrible. She did every manipulation tactic that you were calling her out on, and you still didn't give in.
Hey, he's the fucking victim. You know it was going to make you look terrible, but you still publish it. You're so fucking brave. That's what he wants. He wants Destiny to be like, you're so brave. You're so brave to publishing a video that you knew would make you look bad because you're really fighting the odds. Like, you're really the victim here. This is fucking incredible, dude. Holy fuck.
You didn't break, Max. You were strong. You did something today for men all across the world, and just people, but especially men. You did not cave. You did not say, "Oh, okay, if you want me to parent you, you need me to parent you, but you won't say it. Fine, I'll be your daddy. I'll just be your default, emotional regulator and processor whenever you need me to be." You didn't do that, Max. You didn't give in. You held your ground. That's great. Allow there to be an impact. Allow her. So what if she has to run out of the room screaming? Let her do that. What's important is that you held your boundaries. You're not saying that. You're saying like, oh, you should have dropped it. Did you see how much she was crying, Max? Did you see how loud she was sobbing? You should have dropped your boundaries. Lower your standards so that Shaylin meets them whenever she's going to freak out. That's why she's freaking out, because she wants me to. I literally said to her, when she was crying, I said, "You're still trying to pressure me into doing what you want me to do," and she said yes.
Okay,
I should get a fucking medal.
Okay, here's like my question.
Yeah, because she's trying to pressure you into thinking she's a person. Like, what a fucking hot take. Holy crap.
Okay, or let me give you a scenario. I'm just curious. Okay, say I'm on Tinder, talking to a girl. We agree.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come over at 9 o'clock. We're gonna have sex at 9:05. We talk about it. That's the agreement. It's been like, yeah, come over. We'll chat for 5 minutes. We're gonna have sex at 9:05. You're gonna be gone by 9:30, 10 o'clock, whatever. Okay, cool. Got it. Boom. Let's say that I drive over there. I arrive 8:58. Okay, get up the door, open it. We get inside. We start chatting for a bit, and we both get naked. Let's say that she's sitting on the bed and it's 9:05. Okay, and let's say that she seems like a little bit nervous or fidgety, and she's like, "Hey, do you think we can chat for like 5 or 10 more minutes?" Like, what is your response in that scenario?
Either yes or no.
Yeah, what is your response though?
Do you ever bring up the fact that like, hey, you already agreed to this at 9:05? Like, why are you changing it? Why do you want to chat for? What are 5 or 10 more minutes of talking going to change?
Maybe if I felt like she's saying like, I feel weird about you, or I feel uncomfortable with you. If that made me uncomfortable, I might say why. Yeah.
Okay. Look, oh, this is fucking incredible.
And then what if she doesn't have a good answer? She's like, well, I want to chat for like 5 or 10 more minutes. Is that okay? I guess like what the point that I'm getting at is it seems.
Well, the point that he's getting at is like, hey, listen, it sounds like you're trying to put her in a situation where she can't rescind her consent. How would you feel? And he's being ambiguous about it. He's not like, yeah, I wouldn't. Like, you could ask like, oh, okay, no problem. But like, how come? That's different. But it seems like he would be angry about that. Like, oh, you're gonna make me like, we already agreed to this. We pre-agreed to this. That's what he's trying to flesh out right now. That's the answer he's trying to get. I don't know how you can't see that, but
seems like people aren't always great at expressing themselves. I don't think you're necessarily treating them like a retarded child to say like, hey, well, let's figure out like what's going on, right? I think it's okay to try to take a step back and figure out like, well, emotionally, it seems like something is incongruent with what you're talking about. Yeah.
But I don't have to have sex with her. That's what I'm saying. It's like I'm okay with showing up.
You literally started off this video with Shaylin though by saying you have to have sex with me, right? Like,
well, I didn't mean right now. I mean eventually we have to have
sure,
sex.
It's the same thing, right? Like,
yeah.
you're saying
no,
it's
not the same thing. Showing up at somebody's house on a Tinder date on a one-night stand is not the same thing as being in a long-term sexual relationship with somebody.
Yeah, Shaylin feels like there's a non-negotiable kind of on the table. She's trying to
there is. We have to have sex. Eventually, we have to have sex. That's a fact of romantic relationships. If you don't,
yeah, but even the way that you say that though, like, yes, my wife has to have sex with me. I beat the fucking Elite challenge, by the way. Easy as fuck. Easy clap, bitch. My wife has to have sex with me if she wants to stay with me, for the most part, unless there's like an extenuating circumstance where like her vagina falls off. Like you could say that, like I need to have sex, and the same thing is back. I need to have sex with my wife for her to stay with me, unless it's an extenuating circumstance, right? Like if well, honestly, I don't even know if I believe that. I'm saying that, but I don't even think I believe that because like if I couldn't have sex, with my wife couldn't have sex anymore, I wouldn't leave her. Like I would just deal with it because I love my wife so much. So I don't even know if I believe what I'm saying like that right now. Okay, so I'm married. I'm content. I'm very happy in my relationship. Like I am not dating somebody. I'm married to somebody that I'm in love with very deeply. Max clearly is not. Most people would come from the perspective of like, hey, if I'm in a relationship with somebody, we don't have to have sex necessarily. No, sorry. If I'm in a relationship, we have to have sex. Maybe there's an extenuating circumstance that would change it. We'd have to have sex, though, or else I'd want to leave, which is totally normal. You can want to do that. But the way that he says it and the way that he asserts it, it just comes off as like really like fucking predatory.
Then your relationship is no longer romantic, or you break up. But in order to have an ongoing sexual relationship, you have to have sex.
Sure, I agree with
eventually.
That. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
We were both
Okay, so that's all I was saying. I was saying like
sure, but the framing of it that way, and then like the pushing.
Well, I think it's important to acknowledge like that she feels raped just by virtue of being in a relationship.
What?
I
think we both do.
I don't know if she.
No, I was saying that. I was saying I think we both should acknowledge that there's an unfortunate thing about being like freaked out by sex and being in a relationship is that we are forced to have sex with each other eventually.
You're not forced to because you could also just end the.
You're not really forced. Like you kind of have to. Like the same way as I'm like forced to eat food. Like I'm not like yes, I am forced to eat food, but like I want to, I guess. Like this is what I'm talking about. This is what I was talking about before. He takes a fundamental idea, like yeah, you kind of have to have sex to be in a relationship, and he uses these words like force. He's so hyperbolic about it. It's like prove a point, but he's not really being true. And you also don't always have to have sex when like one person wants it, which is something that he wants to do. He wants to like force her to have sex. I don't even know how you schedule sex. It's so fucking bizarre to me.
A relationship, right?
Yes, that's I think that was implied. Yeah, obviously you can leave, but I'm saying if you're with me, you have to have sex with me.
Isn't that kind of a manipulative tactic, or no? Like we have to do this or the relationship ends. Don't people use that sometimes to manipulate each other, or?
No, I wasn't saying we have to have sex in this way. Or
well, but we have to.
way.
Sure. Okay. All right.
Wait.
No.
A manipulative tactic, or no? Like we have to do this or the relationship.
What is a
ends.
manipulative
Don't people use
tactic?
that sometimes to manipulate each other, or?
No, I wasn't saying we have to have sex in this way. Or
well, but we have to.
Well, you're saying you have to have sex in a
Sure,
certain way.
all
What's he talking about?
Is there anything else you want to go over, or go for it?
The implication of the Tinder story is that you're just not okay with things being derailed. And I think that you lose a lot of power if you're not okay, like Trump says, the biggest power is the power to walk away. And like if you don't like the questions the person's asking, you don't like what they're saying, then like, yeah, I don't have to have sex with this person just because I said I would. I can have an impasse with them. I can say, oh, you know what, the way you're saying you want to talk for 5 minutes makes me think that you're just another one of these controlling women who's going to string me along until you decide you want to have sex. What's the whole point of setting a time if you're going to tell me that you're going to just change the time? Like, no, I prepared myself for this. So if you don't want to have sex now, then we're not having sex. I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing for me to say.
Okay.
The classic. Destiny, okay.
I mean, I disagree with you, but I'm done fighting over.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, it's fucking hopeless.
Oh, I know what it means.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so.
Supposed to moderate a conversation between you and Eurodite. Is that happening?
Yeah, I said it felt a little too similar. Yeah, speaking of women, you're too charitable towards me. I said it felt a little too similar to the Britney conversation, so I feel like we should wait a little bit. But yeah, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting. You were very uncharitable towards her. Holy shit. So yeah, I think it'd be.
You're too
I'm
charitable.
too charitable.
You're too charitable to women.
Well,
You gotta hold their feet to.
I think that Max, I truly do. I think that he identifies women and like he identifies them as like weak, and he feels like he can push over them. And then when somebody's like, "Hey, don't do that," he's like, "Oh, you're too charitable. They should just be able to defend themselves better." Max is the kind of person who like he rapes a girl and like, well, she could have just stopped. She could have just pulled a knife on me. Like that's what the energy that I'm getting here. But he doesn't treat men that way. Like he comes into the conversations with men in a much different way. Like he doesn't have the same expectations of men that he does of women. It's fucking insane. Like he's so much more. He's like he's harsher on women. Obviously, is like what I'm trying to say here.
To the fire, Steven.
I'll do a better job, okay?
I'm going to help you with this. It's really going to be, it'll look like a moderated conversation between me and Erudite, but it's really going to be me doing intervention with you, and I'm going to show you how to hold a woman accountable for her actions.
Okay. I'm just there to moderate the conversation. She's a smart woman. She can talk for herself. Or maybe that's just me being charitable towards her. I don't know.
Yeah, I never said she wasn't smart. She's very smart. That's
In a
not the
demonic
problem.
kind of way, you know?
She's controlling.
What,
When I say control,
Hold on,
I mean underhanded. I'll start saying underhanded. I'm fine with Shaylin. You saw Shaylin get mad. Like she can be very controlling. Like when she's mad, that's fine. I don't mind her being controlling. It's underhanded.
I'm asking a question because I'm seeing this in chat. I don't know if this is true or not. People are making up lies, maybe. Somebody said, MrGirl literally doesn't allow Shaylin to have a cell phone or use the internet without MrGirl's consent. Is that true? Max.
Are you really asking me that?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, I want you to decide if you're actually asking me that.
I could see Max answering either way. I could see you saying on one hand, obviously she has a cell phone and access to the internet. It would be crazy for her not to. That would actually be insane for me to limit that. And then on the other hand, I could see you saying, I've been doing the online content world for quite a while. I don't think Shaylin could handle what she sees on the internet. I don't know if she has the responsibility to manage herself.
Yes, that's right. She has to be protected from the
she
outside
has to be
world.
protected from the crazy people online.
From her friends, from her family, her therapist.
Okay.
She can't talk to anybody.
So she at least has a limited cell phone plan. That's what we're saying.
I guess you could call me.
Okay. McAfee free antivirus. Way to go, dipshit. That was a guy in chat that said that.
Okay, so it feels like you're saying that you're willing to believe all kinds of things about me. If you, how would I restrict her from having a phone? It's not fucking Saudi Arabia.
I have no
How would I
idea.
stop?
No, I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I wouldn't doubt that he would do that. I mean, it's so interesting. He's like, it's so interesting that you're willing to believe that. Yeah, because you're a fucking piece of shit. Why? Like, of course, people would be willing to believe this. The way that you present yourself, absolutely willing to believe that. 100%.
How would you
would I
post videos of her
accomplish
online when she's saying, I don't want this posted online? I don't fucking, I don't know.
That's a
you guys
good question.
I don't know what your relationship is like.
You did that. You did literally. Yeah, exactly. Like that's one of the things he did. So
My ability to judge character comes from the fact that I'm willing to reserve judgment until I've seen a lot of shit. A lot of people make snap judgments about people, but I keep an open mind.
we are far beyond snap judgment. Like when I first started like looking into MrGirl and I saw the whole cutie thing, I'm like, okay, I was very charitable. And then I watched like 4 other videos. I'm like, okay, and then just slowly humanity fades. It's not that you're not. Then you interact with them so much more. Like this isn't a thing where it's like I'm not trying to make a snap judgment. Like no, you're just trying not to make a judgment. Like that's where we're at right now. You're just desperate to not make a judgment on him. I don't know why. It's pretty clear here that he's a piece of shit. I'm so confused.
Could be. But I'm not going to be charitable and say, well, I think Max is a great person. I think he's ever been, but I'm not going to be like an asshole and say like, oh, well, I think he does this horribly. But there's like,
But Brittany
there's a
Simon
whole-
and not so erudite and Shaylin of all fucking people, you're willing to say
Shaylin.
Shaylin is the one who doesn't let me.
Here,
have
wait, hold on.
access
Let me
to
be very clear. Here's what I say about you, Brittany, Erudite. Okay, what I say is you guys are very interesting. I enjoy my conversations with you.
I know what you say.
That's what I say. I don't sign off on
know- I
any
know
of
what
you.
you say.
I don't sign off on any of you as human beings. I just say that you guys are really interesting. I like talking to you. That's my fun part.
Not signing off on me as a human being is different from leaving the door open that maybe I don't allow my girlfriend to have a phone.
Why would it? Do you think that I have enough information to 100% or 95% make a statement in those regards?
I think you have enough information. I don't know how good you are at synthesizing that information. Are you saying you're a bad judge of character?
No, I think I'm a really good judge of character.
So if you're a good judge of character- if you're such a good judge of
One of those is
character-
because I'm willing to reserve judgment until I've seen a lot. Until then, I
So
get
you're a
every
good judge of
opportunity to-
character. You're a good judge of character by not even being a judge of character. Is that what
Exactly.
you're saying?
Because anybody
I
that
see.
thinks that they can come to 100% conclusive things about a person's personality or character with a few online conversations, I've never mentioned real life, is fucking delusional. I'm too old for
I mean,
that.
you've watched multiple videos and talked to him like multiple times. I mean, I feel like we're beyond that, but okay.
I've been in real life too long for that. And
Yeah,
anybody
like we're way past the point. Like, I mean, if you're a good judge of character, you like you don't snap judge, but you far beyond snap judgment. Like, it doesn't. This would be an argument against being a good judge of character. You're just very patient. That would be what I would say.
otherwise is lying to themselves or lying to everybody else. Absolutely.
Do you think you're good at knowing when people are lying to you?
It's going to depend on the topic.
Interpersonally?
I think generally, but it's going to depend on that's going to be so context dependent. But generally,
I think when people say good judge of character, I'm angry. I'm angry at you. I'm
Good.
angry
Be
that you're
angry.
asking me. I'm angry that you're.
yeah, I'm Lauren
asking me if
Southering
I
you.
allow-
Where you're like, do you really think I like kids? Is that what's happening right now? That's what you're. Yeah, go for it.
No,
I mean, probably, you know.
because you're not lying.
No, I'm not.
So that's not, you're not Lauren Southering me.
Oh,
Lauren
okay.
Southering was lying.
Oh.
You're not lying.
Okay.
I'm angry that you genuinely don't
Why
know
was she lying? Because she's a woman? Like, what is it?
if I allow my girlfriend to have a phone.
Yeah, it's a reason. I wouldn't doubt it. He seems like the
Given
kind
the
of person.
content of yours that I've consumed, and given the totality of your online presence,
The totality.
if it came out that that was the case,
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
do you think that most reasonable people would be like, "Oh my God, Mr. Girl doesn't like his girlfriend"? Like on someone's show, I had no, that's crazy. I would have never guessed that. I think the reaction would be like, yeah, possible, right?
Very
I don't think that's
possible.
reasonable.
Okay.
100% reasonable.
I think that with the character that I
100%
project online,
reasonable.
not the character, my personality is relatively atypical in a lot of ways. When if it came out that like I like murdered my girlfriend or something, or I don't know, I'm trying to think of something. Like
If it came out that Destiny, if somebody said Destiny controls his girlfriend's phone, I would be very surprised because he's a cuck. I'd be like, that's no way. If anything, she controls his phone. But if it came out that he murdered her, I would be like, yeah, maybe because he's a cuck, and maybe maybe got tired of it. No, but all jokes aside, like, actually, yeah, I could believe that, though. Like, the phone thing, I actually don't think that, but, like, if he murdered her, I'd be like, oh, you know what, not really that surprised. I don't know why. He just seems like the kind of guy who, like, screams the N-word when he loses a league game, and then, like, the next step is screaming the N-word, killing your girlfriend, right? That's... It's true.
this. I can understand. It might be frustrating to me because I feel misunderstood. But I understand a lot of people being like, yeah, no shit. Like he shouts at her on stream. He makes jokes about killing people all the time. Like he's
They're not
talking about
reasonable.
what?
That's not a reason. You said most reasonable people.
I can understand it. I think a reasonable person would be like, oh yeah, sure, yeah.
I think it's an unreasonable estimation of your character to think that you're going to kill your girlfriend or wife.
I mean, I would hope that most people think that, but like, depending on like what people see the
Like, you
shades-
probably wouldn't. I just wouldn't necessarily be surprised if it happened. But with MrGirl, like, it's harder to believe that he doesn't control his girlfriend's phone. You know, I'm like a 50-50 almost. Maybe like a 40-60 leaning towards the 60 on like he controls his girlfriend's social media use. I wouldn't doubt that at all.
of you that you see online, the shades that are seen of you online, people's
Like,
perception.
I doubt
of that.
Destiny would kill his wife. Don't doubt girlfriend. Don't doubt that Mr. Girl would control his girlfriend's phone.
Normal people act versus somebody like me, or even somebody like you might act. I think that there are a lot of possible actions that I could do that wouldn't surprise the internet.
I think that me saying, I need you to set clear boundaries with me and stand up for yourself and stop acting like a child.
That's not what you're doing. That's not what you're doing. What you're doing is you're saying you're berating her into doing these things. That's not the same thing. You're almost testing her. You're effectively being manipulative and abusive towards her, and this is very charitable. Until she sticks up for herself. You're like the dad that just keeps hitting his kid in the face and is like, stand up for yourself. Tell me to stop. You know what I mean? Piss your pants. Something like that. That's what's actually happening here. Right? This isn't like, say, like, hey, you need to affirm your boundaries. It's really that's totally fine. Hey, you know, it's really frustrating because you don't affirm your boundaries. I don't know where the fuck you stand sometimes. That's totally normal, bro. That's a thing some people do. That's not what you're doing. That's not what you're doing at all.
Does not translate in the mind of a reasonable person to, you're not allowed to have a phone.
That's not what. If
those are
that's
diametrically opposed.
I agree, but that first thing never happened. Whatever you just talked about was a fantasy in your mind. What you were doing is those statements that you were making coincided with you pushing aggressively for an action that she seemed to be
when I wasn't
to be able to have
fucking shit,
to be able to have some sort of sexual interaction with her.
How did I push aggressively for that?
Because you literally said that at the end of a conversation where she was like sobbing for a few minutes in the other room, you still got that win. And then when I asked you further, like, how and then you said you didn't care how she felt about it. You're like, I don't care.
You posted that video. I'm gonna have to watch it tomorrow, Paige, because this is my last thing for the day, and then I'm banging out. But I'm gonna take a look tomorrow. Don't worry.
Care if she felt okay or not.
I said I don't want to be my responsibility.
That's fine, but I'm just saying that, like,
how did I aggressively push for it?
I would argue that anytime you're trying to get a concession out of somebody that's highly emotional and you continue to push for that concession, it's a pretty aggressive action.
When did I even continue to push for the concession?
The fact that you would even still entertain the possibility of what you were going for once she's already gotten emotional and started crying.
Okay, so now we're saying that if I ask Shaylin for something and she starts crying and I still even allow her to consent, then I'm aggressively pushing for it.
Yes, I would say so.
Can we invent a new category for that is not lumped in with me saying, like, if I
don't, bro, the gaslighting is incredible. I need a second.
We're saying that if I ask Shaylin for something and she
I asked my girlfriend something.
Starts crying.
Yep.
She starts crying.
And I still even allow her to consent. Then I'm aggressively pushing for it.
Yes.
So what I don't like about this is that he's doing it again. It's a fundamental argument. Like if I walked to my wife and said, like, I really wanted pizza tonight and you made hot dogs and that sucks, and she started crying, that would be unreasonable. That's the way that he's framing it. Because fundamentally what he's saying makes sense. But like applying it to the situation where he's berating his girlfriend to want to fuck her like she's a corpse and not enjoy it, and then she starts crying. Those are disanalogous to what I just said. Those are not the same situation. Like, he plays this fucking really dumb fucking manipulative game. It has to be exhausting dating this person. It has to be fucking exhausting dating Mr. Girl. I would fucking kill myself, unironically, if I dated him. Okay? It's fucking insane. It's like psychotic.
I would say so.
Can we invent a new category for that is not lumped in with me saying, like, if I
don't think it's rape. I'm not saying anything like that. It's not like rape or anything.
I'm not saying it's rape. I'm not saying you're saying it's rape. I'm saying if I said, hey, wait a second, you're crying and I still haven't gotten my answer. I need you to do this for me. Remember, we're going to break up if we don't do this. I need this from you. You have to do this. Wouldn't that be aggressively pushing? Like, but you're saying that even allowing her to continue the conversation with me? This is why I'm saying that.
Well, you did say that, though, didn't you? You said if we don't have sex, I'm breaking up with you, and this is how I want to have sex. So you kind of are saying all the things that you're saying that you're not saying. Incredible.
It's too...
But it's not even like allowing her to continue, right? She like, it's a couple points she exited or wanted to exit the conversation, right? Like it's
no. I said, do you want to exit the conversation? You can exit the conversation whenever you want. I wasn't even aggressively pushing for that. The only thing I was pushing for is I need you to decide if you want to have the conversation. I need you to decide. I need you to be explicit about what you're saying. I never aggressively pushed her to for any sex thing at all.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. Someone's like, funny because we still haven't gotten a clear answer on whether he or not he controls her internet access. That's a good point. He never he didn't explicitly say no, did he? He's just like, I can't believe you'd think that about me. Oh, very good point. That's a good point.
All I did was ask her.
Okay. I understand your perspective because you feel like you're saying all the right words. But I guess there's a lot of emotional subtext that I would like.
Sorry, that was actually really good. Bro, okay, so that was like really good to me. That was fun. He's like, I know you feel like you're saying the right words. Absolutely. 100%. He thinks he's saying the correct things to win the argument. But he doesn't even I don't even think he believes them. That's exactly what's happening. I know you think you're saying the right thing, but Destiny's just seeing through all the dumb bullshit that he's saying. That's exactly what's happening. I know you think that what you're saying makes you seem like you're not abusive, but you totally are. That's what I'm hearing.
here's like a thing.
You're asking me.
Yes, I'm asking you to read that. Yes, I am. Yes.
And so that is our central disagreement.
I understand, but if I meet a person, we've talked about fucking, we've figured out the boundaries, and I meet them in real life, and they seem a little bit iffy, and then maybe even we go to do it, like, wait, hold on, I need a moment, and they like start crying a little bit. Chances are we're not having sex at all that night. I don't care if they stop and they're like, okay, I think I'm okay now, or whatever. Like, it's probably like, okay, let's just take a step back. But if you're like, okay, are you done crying now? Can we keep going? Like, that feels a little bit aggressive to me.
That's not a fair analogy. I didn't say, are you done crying now? Can we keep going?
No, but kind of.
I said what I would say in that situation. What I said in that situation is, I would say, I need you to figure out what's going on, and I need you to make up your mind.
But like, wouldn't the more
the more normal thing would be like, okay, why don't you come back to this later? So we have a person who's like abusive, who has formerly been physically abusive. I guess he's not, according to him. And she feels comfortable standing up and walking out. That makes sense to me. He even said, like, if you really wanted to leave the situation, you could have been like, "Oh, Max, you're such an I know you want to do this for your content, and you're so incredible." And I know I'm paraphrasing, but I can't handle this right now. That would be fine. Like, that's like, he has to be super nicer. I don't know, bro. I wouldn't doubt that she's afraid that he'll fucking like smack her in the face. I saw the look in his fucking eyes that he wanted to hit her. Like, I know what it looks like. I don't really care about how many different forms of mental gymnastics that you would need to engage in to be like, that's not true. It is true. I've seen it before. Okay, you know why? Because I've been in fights with people before. Not women, other men. Okay? And that's the same fucking look I get in my eyes, the same look that they get in their eyes when somebody pushes a boundary and someone's about to get fucking hit. That's the look that was in his fucking face. Okay? So, yeah, I can understand why she would be, why do you think that she's afraid of you? Well, maybe it's because you used to beat the shit out of other people, and she knows that. Shut the fuck up. Like, such a dumb piece of shit.
Wise man once said that if you need somebody else to figure out your sexual boundaries for you, you're acting like a retarded child.
For sure.
What the fuck did I say? What did I say earlier in the fucking stream? I said that this is a clear example where Destiny makes the fundamental argument about how, like, women we're going too far. We're going too far. Like, this is Destiny's perspective. Hey, we're going too far to the point where, like, even if women are uncomfortable, then, like, they can't even advocate for themselves. Like, progressives are, for lack of a better term, treating women like retarded children, right? And I said that I understand what he's saying because there is an aspect of that, but I guarantee you that Mr. listened to that, and he's using that, like, as his fundamental argument to be disparaging of women. I called that like an hour ago in this fucking stream, and I was 100% correct. Like, this stupid motherfucker is so easy to read, not Destiny. Fucking MrGirl. He's like your typical fucking abuser. Like, he's so easy to read. He's dumb as shit. Like, this is fucking incredible. The fact that people think he's intelligent is actually mind-blowing to me. It's actually fucking mind-blowing to me. Truly. You know? Like, I get it. If you listen to him for 5 minutes, he sounds intelligent. But he's really just always trying to slip you up. There's no honest conversation. He's never being reasonable. And every time he engages with a woman, I think it's just so that he can make them feel like shit about themselves. Every single time you see him engage with a woman and come up like with a specific argument, keep in mind that he absolutely hates women, and he's going to bad faith the fuck out of them every single time. That's who this person is. That's exactly who this person is. A fucking so easy to read. What a fucking loser. Holy shit. Hey, thanks for the subs. I guess I'll take a break to acknowledge the subs since you sent me like 1 million of them.
Daniel Johnson 15 gifted.
Hey, thanks for the gift of sub, brother.
Subscription. Daniel Johnson 15 gifted a tier 1 sub to Let's Go Away. This is their first gift sub in the channel.
Thank you very much, brother. Yeah, bad faith women, good faith men.
Ook just subscribe.
Hey, thank you so much, Paige Christy Ook, for the sub. I know it's you, a petty page. I'm gonna keep calling you that.
Paige Christy Ook.
Thank you so much for the 5 gift subs. Don't donate money to me. All right, stop doing that. Thank you so much, though.
Where's
No, but I don't think that he bad faiths women and good faiths men. I think he bad faiths women, and then he interacts with men normally. I think that's what it actually comes down to.
Where's the omni-liberal when I fucking need him?
If I told you, if I was having a conversation with...
Where's the based guy? You're not based enough anymore. Where'd that guy go? Where's the guy that hates women? Bro, Destiny, you should seriously... okay. This guy thinks you hate women. Like, I understand that, you know, different people interpret different things different ways, and that, like, you don't intend for it. But this guy actually thinks that you're on his side, that you fucking hate women. That's what he's trying to say. Like, you should be kind of insulted by this. Okay.
Shaylin, my advice would be geared towards her, and I would be very critical of her actions. But I'm not
But
calling
I want Shaylin to change.
That's great, but you can't change somebody that you're negotiating against. That's the issue, right?
Well, I want our dynamic to change. And
Yeah,
so all
but
I
you
can
want
do
it to
is play
change. But you have to understand, on your end of the negotiation, you only care about Max. It's not your job to change her to better suit you. That's the issue.
Well, I want to change.
Do you?
Yes. Just not in the direction you seem to fucking want me to, but I want to change in the opposite direction. I want to be less the way you're telling me to be.
He wants to be more abusive. Isn't that incredible? It's so interesting that he was called out for being abusive. And so what I'm telling you, and I call these things all the time with this guy because he's so fucking easy to read. He's a coward loser. He is an abusive person who stopped being as abusive because society was like, hey, their behavior is wrong. Now he's gotten more comfortable with being abusive again, and now he's like, you know what? I want to go back to being more abusive. That's what's going on here. There's 100% what's happening here. So he wants to see how far he can push before he gets the fucking shit beaten out of him. Apparently, I don't really understand it. Well, I do understand it. He's an abusive piece of shit. It's fucking crazy.
Well, okay, if that's the case, then what I would say, oh no, so you want to be even more aggressive, or not aggressive, but more.
No, I want to be more.
I want to be more me. I want to be more me. I want to be more. I want to advocate for
He wants to be more him. He wants to be more abusive. He is abusive. He wants to be more of that.
myself better.
It's so interesting. He's really good in some capacity at he's really good at. Sorry, I'm eating a cloud. Like a normal person might look at that and go like, oh, I get that. Because I want to be more me. Because I think we've all been there. We've all been in a place where we want to be more us and we want to be more advocating. When it came to my working, like my job, there's a lot of times where like I felt like my managers were kind of pushing me over. And so I wanted to be more me. We all identify with that. And so fundamentally, again, because he's like everything's about fundamentals with this guy. What he's saying isn't necessarily wrong. Applied to the situation, he wants to be fucking abusive. That's what's happening.
I want to be me. I don't want to be a hybrid of me and Shaylin, and while Shaylin just gets to be Shaylin.
What are you talking about? Relationships are about building. You're so fucking stupid. You shouldn't be in a relationship.
I want to be me. I don't want to be her parent. I don't want to be a parent of everybody. I just want to be me, and I want to be able to advocate for my own interests. And you're saying that I have to be so tuned into her that if I detect any hesitation or discomfort...
Bro, she's crying. You don't have to detect anything. Nobody's asking you to be like hyper aware of her. They're just asking you to be like, oh, when she like... She's very clearly and visibly upset.
That I'm basically forcing it on her if I don't immediately like withdraw my request.
No, you're dumb.
As if she's a retarded child.
We should all treat each other like retarded children, Max.
You're not treating me like a retarded child.
Yeah, yeah, that's not what I'm
saying.
Oh,
100. Oh, what are you talking about? 100%. The way that Destiny's treating him is the way that you would treat somebody with like an actual intellectual disability that you're just trying to communicate to and trying to get through to them so they change their behavior. I'm not trying to be a fucking asshole. That's exactly how he's doing it. I'm sorry for being disparaging to people with intellectual disabilities. Like, exactly. Like, he's prompting him. He's, like, trying to implement, like, behavioral protocols for Max. That's exactly what's happening. He's treating him like a fucking idiot. So, yeah, it's so interesting that Max thinks that any pushback is treating him badly. He's a fucking victim. Dude, I mean, at this point, I would have just been, like, fucking screaming at you. Maybe. I would have been, like, going in on you. Like, hey, you're an abusive piece of shit. Conversation wouldn't have even been this long. He's treating you like a fucking baby. Because you need to be. Because you're a fucking child.
You're only upset because you're trying to push me to give a concrete declaration of your character. I don't really know you well enough to do that. I would never, like,
I do.
And, like, there are a ton of stories because of the type of person, and because of the type of person I am as well. There's a ton of stories that could be released about either of us, where any reasonable person could look at it and go, yeah, sure. Like if a story got released tomorrow, I like shooting. I just recently like trap shooting. It's a lot of fun. If a story got released tomorrow that Destiny was at a range, and he said to the person next to you, wow, you're black just like your gun. And then they got into a scuffle and Destiny shot and killed him. I think a lot of people would read that and be like, you know what? I think Destiny could say some dumb shit like that. Now, personally, I would never say anything so stupid. And it would bother me.
I know that.
You don't know that. You don't know me well
I do
enough.
know that.
You don't know that. You're being too charitable to me. You're being too charitable. I'm telling you that.
No, I'm being too charitable maybe to my own judge of other people's characters.
Okay, some people do that. But I'm just saying that, like, there is some dumb shit that people could say about me that I think even somewhat... Book Smarts, we got into an issue where he was like, Destiny was in a restaurant and he said the N-word really loudly. There was, like, black people there or whatever. And it's like... And there were a lot of people around. It's like, yeah, Destiny, I guess he could say something. Like, he seems really crazy. It's like, no, what the fuck? No. But
that would happen. I would agree with that. He would probably do that if he was in, like, a gamer place. Like, a gamer, bar or whatever. And he was playing a league. Yeah, I could believe it.
like, I mean...
Oh, yeah, he's hardcore coddling. I'm gonna stop eating, sorry. He's hardcore coddling him.
Given, like, how edgy I am online and everything, I could see, you know, it sucks, but I can see some people saying that. I'm just saying that, like, yeah, having, like, a really good judge of character, I don't know if I ever told you this, I think I have. My requirement for a good judge of character is that I've been through something where somebody is tested, where they have to make a hard decision. One where they could either throw me under the bus, or one where they have to make a sacrifice to choose to do something, and then I see them choose otherwise. Because when it comes to streamers, 99% of the time, the choices that we make are not only the best for our careers and financially viable, they're also, like, the choices that end up being the things that work well in life. Like, people be like, oh my god, like, it's so...
That's not true for me, I'll tell you one thing. Only because I knew it was a bad idea to call Ethan Klein out, because if I sucked his dick enough, And then I spurged out on Keemstar. I would have been his best friend. You know, I think I've burned probably every bridge. I probably burned. I probably burned like every potential bridge because I call people out who deserve to get called out. So as dumb as Keemstar is, I'll give him credit because he still talked to me after I shit on him. I wasn't bad to him. I mean, I called him. He's a fucking rape apologist. But I'll give him that benefit of the doubt.
So brave that this guy had a really difficult conversation with his mom when she was like, yeah, I guess, but I was gonna pay a lot of money for it. I got a lot of hits on my YouTube for it. Like, that wasn't a hard decision, you know? Like,
has the Keem bridge been burned? No, I don't think so. I think that he'll continue to engage. So
there's a lot of choices that people make that kind of seem hard, but they're always like super beneficial. This is my big criticism of like Hassan and Vosh. People are like, look at how committed they are to their causes. They did big fundraisers. Yeah, because they can show how much clout they have with a dollar amount. Yeah, because they get a ton of viewership doing it. These aren't hard choices to make. A hard choice would be donating $50,000 of your own cash. That would be kind of a hard choice, right? But
I can't afford it, bro. I already basically am. Gotta pay for my fucking ex's schooling because she won't pay for it. She's a penis head. But you know what? This is our $1 million year, baby. We don't care. We don't care about money. Okay? We're freaks. We don't care.
But that's all I'm saying. I haven't been in a situation with you where I've seen you have to make a really difficult choice because that's...
If anybody ever asked me, like, save my firstborn child or give up mug root beer for the rest of my life, that would be a very difficult choice to make. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know. It's just hard.
Where I can divine somebody's character. Now I see what kind of person you are. It's not like a personal insult or anything. It's just like reality, right? In my opinion. So I don't think you're a horrible person or a bad person, but I don't know if you're a good person because I'm honest.
I know.
Sure.
He's a bad
Maybe
person.
someday we'll be in a situation. I'll wake up and you'll be standing up on me with a knife. And you'll say, I could have killed you in your sleep and I didn't. And I'm like, you know what, Max? At the very least, I know that about you. Thank you.
I could believe that he would do that, though. Honestly, I'm not even kidding.
And I'll go back to sleep and hope you don't kill me.
And then when you wake up, you'll know I'm a good person.
Exactly.
Well, incredible.
I think not judging character is more like knowing that you're not a good judge of character. That's not being a good judge of character. That's just knowing that you shouldn't.
Okay. I understand a lot of people feel that way.
I don't even know what situation could be like that. Where I could,
that's why you never know until shit happens. You never know, huh?
All right. Well, send me the blackmail information about yourself, and then we can figure out.
Leak it. Okay.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Okay. It's good dead time. You can hear the balloons. What's happening here?
You think it's unreasonable that I'm mad at you about this?
I would say so, but
interesting question. No, I could see why being called like an abusive person. No, you know, he's upset because like Destiny was like, I could believe, he didn't even call him abusive. He's like, I could believe that you control your girlfriend's like internet usage. And he's like, I'm really upset about this. Go take a fucking long walk then off a short fucking bridge. Like, what do you want me to tell you?
Understand your anger because I'm empathetic. But if somebody told me, I don't know if I can trust you. Yeah,
well, this is the thing. Even like if Destiny or MrGirl said like, I think you're dumb, blah blah blah, I wouldn't care because like I don't care about them. And like the same way where Destiny would feel the same. Like I'm not like fucking showing my dick. Like I wouldn't really care. There's very few people that would upset me if you're like, oh this. You know, like if somebody was, I could see you controlling your wife's internet usage. I'm like, you're wrong, but that's funny. That's how I would do it. But the thing is that like if my wife said something like that, like if my wife said something like something in that field, I mean, my wife, I wouldn't be controlling. She wouldn't say that because I don't control her internet usage. But if my wife said something like that, like, oh, I could expect you to do a bad thing, I get really upset because I value what my wife has to say. And the reason I'm saying this is because MrGirl has an unhealthy obsession with Destiny's opinion. Like that is his validating person. That is the father I guess he never had. The father he wanted. Right? And that's the pathetic part here.
I get it. Like if Brittany or like Lauren or Nick or you or somebody was like, oh, like, I don't know if I can trust you 100%. Like, yeah, that's fair, 100%. Especially in my history, sure.
I don't know if I can trust you 100%. It's different from I don't know if you allow your girlfriend to have a phone.
I don't have any insight into your guys' relationship, and everything I've seen is like super like, oof. So I don't know. I just don't know. I wouldn't make a statement about it. I'm not sure. I'd be open to all possibilities.
True.
I just want to clarify that's different from... I don't want you to reframe this that I'm angry that you said, I don't know if I can trust you 100%. That's
sure, I understand. Here, like, I would say that of all possible worlds, in the majority of those possible worlds, you would allow your girlfriend to have a cell phone. In over 65%, in over 75% of those worlds, you'd have your girlfriend have a cell phone. So
okay, maybe 65%. Okay,
aren't that many where she wouldn't. So
And what do you think is unreasonable about me being angry about that?
I think that
You're
you
too
should understand
sensitive.
that I don't have a lot of intimate penetration into your relationship and your personal life. I haven't seen it, so why would I?
Bro, it's like crazy because this is actually a general, like a kind of a vague criticism of Mr. Girl, and he's fucking melting down about it. He's so upset about this general criticism. Like, I can't believe you'd think I would do a bad thing. And then he's like, I'm really upset about this. Can we keep talking about this? Can we make the last hour of this conversation about this? This is exactly what's happening.
strong stance on how you guys conduct yourselves privately. I just wouldn't know. Maybe she doesn't even like cell phone stuff that much, or maybe she's like a more subservient kind of person. She's like, oh, if you like this, I'll do this, whatever. She's like very housewifey. I don't know. Maybe it's possible. I don't know that.
You've seen the kitchen.
Especially in the same conversation where you've told me I don't let her talk to people online because I'm protecting her from the internet. That opened up like from all possible worlds from like 80%. Then it went down to 75%. Now there's like more possible worlds where maybe Max like, you don't get a cell phone.
I didn't mean I don't let her. I meant I will not platform her talking to people.
If she reached out and she was like,
wow, that's really fucking. That actually is super controlling. Wait, I thought he was kidding. My bad. So he won't let her go and have a conversation with somebody by herself without him on the internet. Tell me how that's not controlling. Explain that to me. Explain that to me. My wife personally doesn't really like doing too much internet stuff a lot because she doesn't really like some of the people on here, like some of the people who interact, because they're annoying as shit. But like, I'd absolutely let her. Like Simon was like, "Oh, can I talk to your wife?" I was like, "I'll ask her. She probably won't want to, but no problem." Hey, you just came to my Twitch. I appreciate that. Mr. Girl looks like he's a robot stuck in a human body, possibly. But yeah, no, it's a huge red flag to be like, yeah, I don't know if I would, I don't know if I would, or no, I wouldn't let my girlfriend or I wouldn't let my wife talk to anybody on the internet, by herself. That's fucking controlling as shit.
I'm going to talk to Eurodite about our relationship on stream. Would you be okay with that?
No, but I wouldn't physically stop her.
Would you like break up with her?
No.
Okay.
I would say, I don't want you to do that. I think you're interfering with my work and my art. And
fucking it's art.
Make
What
a fucking
art?
painting about it or something.
What if Shayla reached out to talk to me? Would you like that, or would you not be okay with that?
I'd be a lot more okay with that than Erudite, but I would talk to you on stream. If you want to talk to you privately, then I would be happy. I'd be happy with that. If she want to talk to you on stream, yeah, I would tell her not to do that.
Okay.
I would just say that you're undermining my voice. Like, this is my thing.
Is Erudite the girlfriend or is that somebody different? I'm a little confused.
Talk about me in another arena or way. But if you come into my professional artistic sphere and start contradicting my, or
he's not even like artistic. Like nothing he does is artistic. It's utilizing art to be abusive. That's all it is. It's a justifier. I know I'm treating my girlfriend like shit, but this is just an artistic view in some of the world of me. So it's actually very honest. Like this is somebody who's very full of himself. It's not art. Like you're just using it as an excuse to be abusive.
validating my narratives and my
Somebody
work,
different?
then
Okay.
you're I don't know.
That's
It
super unfair. but okay.
would feel invasive.
Okay.
Why is that unfair?
Because you've made your relationship and your disagreements in your relationship part of your work. So it seems a little strange that you can have your voice fully represented there, but you're worried about her representing hers.
Sure.
I'm worried about her representing hers in a way that undermines mine. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're undermining her.
Yeah.
Right?
Because she's gonna be like, yeah, he's abusive. Like that's it.
But that's okay. You're okay undermining.
No, I'm not.
She doesn't want him. He doesn't want her to have the ability to express herself on the internet, even in a way that can defend herself. Girl, you gotta run. You gotta run.
Undermining her. I'm painting a picture of her.
A really undermined one. You
Yeah.
call her a
Well,
demon.
it's only undermined assuming you think she disagrees with it. But
Well, I imagine
like-
she probably doesn't see herself as a demon or demonic or manipulator or abuser.
Yeah,
Like, and that's
because
what
she
you-
said that she's not. So I would agree with that. Yeah.
well, you can imagine all you want,
Okay,
but
maybe
that
she
don't
does.
make
Maybe
it
it's
that don't
true.
make it true.
Maybe she agrees. Maybe she
So
is.
Shaylin has a comic about our relationship that she draws, and she posts them on Twitter.
Okay.
Her Twitter is sheebyjeebies, if you guys want to look at it.
Okay.
I think it's 1E _ and then JEEBIE. Or she's Ms. Boy on Twitter.
Okay.
But so she has a comic about her relationship, and that's her thing. And so if her comic got really popular, and then I was like, well, I don't like how you're representing our relationship in your comic, so I'm going to also make a comic, and then start drawing comics that contradict your comic. I think that would feel a little invasive.
I
So
have no
I'm fine
fucking
with
idea
her
how to
speaking
find
publicly
this.
about our relationship. I just don't want her to do it in the same medium, in the same way, and sort of use my megaphone to contradict me. Like the only reason you would talk to her, or Ariel would talk to her, is because I'm a streamer. It's not because, that's not her thing.
I got it. It's a really good rationalization, so we'll accept it.
Doesn't sound like it.
Sorry.
Use my megaphone to contradict me. Like the only reason you would talk to her, or Ariel would talk to her, is because I'm a streamer. It's not because, that's not her thing.
I got it. It's a really good rationalization, so I'll accept it.
I guess not really. I wouldn't accept that at all. What are you talking about?
Doesn't sound like it.
Maybe Destiny's just no longer interested in the conversation. He's just saying whatever. Yeah, it's the cold shoulder. Dude, look at MrGirl. You guys can't really see it. Look at his fucking face. Look at how upset this fucking this child is. He's like, if you could see it, he's like sitting there. He's like fucking crying. Look at how upset he is because Destiny's giving him the cold shoulder. This is devastating. This is his whole world. This is MrGirl's whole world. He comes to Destiny every night. He's like, thank you for giving me the opportunity to come back. Which, by the way, doesn't make you look very good, Destiny. But and Destiny is being dismissive and he's getting upset.
What's on the agenda for Max? Anything fun coming up?
Just fighting with you.
Okay, cool, fun.
Wait, I was trying to finish something.
Oh, sorry. You didn't want her to use your platform, your
yeah,
megaphone.
You're saying that makes your stance more reasonable. I was gonna say.
Wait, I didn't say that. You might have assumed I thought that, but no.
Well, no, I was assuming that because you said you went from 80 to 75%. So you're saying that lowered your.
Well, the 80 to 75%. Oh yeah, it was the. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
It lowered it. That was a hit to your faith in me.
Now that you've explained it, I'll go from 75 up to like 77%. Okay.
Okay, I got 2% back.
Yeah, 2 points. Yeah.
Okay, so I think I understand people really well, really quickly, right?
Okay, probably.
And you're
not.
saying.
Absolutely not, because he doesn't even understand his own partner. So no, he doesn't. He's a fucking idiot.
We could be friends for 10 years, and then it could turn out that I'm like a mass child murderer, and you'd be like, well, you live and you learn.
Depends on what kind of friend we've been.
No, I would believe that. I could definitely see him like shooting up a school or something. I'm not saying that to be like funny or anything. I'm being serious. He's a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
Right. So we're gonna have a problem. We're already having a problem.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Of increasing discrepancy between how well I think I know you and how well you think you know me. And I'm also, I think, a more trusting person than you in general. So how much I trust you versus how much you trust me. There's going to be a gap.
Yeah, he's a victim again. I'm so trusting of you, and you don't think this way of me. I cannot believe it. Guys, this is what we're hearing here, okay? This is crybaby, abusive, victim-blaming language. This is like childish fucking behavior.
Trust is a fundamentally different thing than how well do I know your character, because there's very few things that I trust anybody with. So there's not like, if I trusted you 1,000,000% with everything in my life, more than anybody else, and I didn't trust you at all, period, like zero, there's very little difference in how I would treat you, because there's just not really much to trust anybody else with. Most of my private affairs are incredibly public, save for very, very, very few things, unless you wanted to like babysit Nathan or something, like there's not very much.
Is his dick pic on the internet? I'm just curious.
Like, yeah, that's just the kind of person. There's not much to trust you with. So whether or not I trust somebody is a fundamentally different question than, you know, how do I judge that person's character to be? Not, yeah.
I guess maybe trust that I am representing myself to you in an accurate way.
You're not. You're dumb.
So whether or not I believe you when you say things you tell
Well, like,
me.
do you feel like you can trust me to be me?
I don't believe anybody for that, no.
Right, and I do.
I could trust you to be you, but you are a piece of shit. Like, what are you talking about?
I think that there's a gap there.
Oh, maybe. That's not unsolvable. That's just a personal... Melina has never lied to me in her entire life, and I don't even trust her when she tells me how she feels sometimes. Not because I think she's lying to me, but because I'm maxing her.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's a solvable problem.
That's the coddling that we're talking about. Like, oh, Melina thinks I'm lying to her all the time, too. It's not... Don't take it personally. Take it personally.
I just want to point out that I think this has actually been happening ever since our first conversation.
Oh, so you're trying to control me and how I feel. Is that what you're doing right now, Max?
No, I'm just explaining that this could be something I get angry about on an ongoing basis.
If Destiny just said, I don't care about how you feel, MrGirl would fucking, like, he would lose it, and it would be fucking hilarious.
I'm not telling you have to do anything about it, or I'm not even saying it's a solvable problem. I'm just saying I think it's, maybe I shouldn't have said problem, conflict.
Okay. That's fair.
I'm sure I'm not the first person that you've had this with, and you're not the first person I've had it with.
I'm getting rid of this car, dude.
You also seem to get betrayed by other streamers on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah.
Sorry, hold on a second. Hold on. I need to re-listen to that.
Sure, I'm not the first person that you've had this. Conflict.
Okay.
Solvable problem. I'm just saying I think it's, maybe I shouldn't have said problem. Conflict. Do anything about it, or I'm not even saying it's a solvable problem on an ongoing basis.
All right, so MrGirl said before, I think that we've had an ongoing problem with your interpretation of me since our first conversation.
Person I've had it with.
Okay.
You also seem to get betrayed by other streamers on a pretty regular basis.
Okay, so obviously Max is in his normal mode, which is called manipulation mode. I'm just considering what he means by that, because what it sounds like... Okay. I might be doing mental gymnastics, but... Yeah, live blackmail, more like live fucking gaslighting or something. What it sounds like he's saying is it seems like you think I'm a bad person, Give me a second. Holy fuck. This is blowing my fucking dick through my ass. It seems like you think I'm a bad person, but I think that you're misrepresented in the way that you think about me, and I think you've always been a bad judge of character on me, at least, from the start. Also, keep in mind, you have a hard time keeping friends because they always will turn on you. That's exactly what that sounds like to me. Is that based on what I know of Max, which is pretty much everything at this point? I mean, we pretty much know everything about him. Right? That's what he's saying, right? Is that like emotional blackmail? Like, you need a friend. Destiny, you need friends. So, like, you're wrong about me, and look at me. I've been hanging out with you. I'm cool. You should know I'm cool by now. Let's be friends. I want to be your friend desperately. That is the only thing I've ever wanted in my entire life. I jerk off to pictures of you at night. Yo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm your friend. Don't talk bad about me. I like how you said that in like a fucking like short sentence, and it took me like 3 minutes to come up with that. You know what I mean?
I haven't had Stardust or Chud Logic stab me in the back, so I'm. Or
I
you.
wonder if Destiny's identifying it and he just doesn't care. That sounds like more what it is.
I won't. Stardust won't. I don't know about Chud Logic.
Why not?
I don't think Chud Logic would ever stab anybody in the back, but he might play some shit up for content, maybe.
I could see him doing that, but that's okay.
I don't really know who these people are, but I think I might. Do I follow Stardust? Did I start following that person on Twitter? I saw that they followed me, so I follow a lot of people, like other creators back on Twitter if they follow me.
But Chud actually seems pretty cool. Stardust seems really cool too. Those people both seem pretty decent. I'll give them my temporary character seal of approval, but anything could be possible. Okay.
Right.
Oh,
Or
I
have a
do.
temporary-
Yeah. We follow the mutual. I don't know really anything about them. Oh, I mean, I'm shoveling 8 pounds of bologna into my mouth. That speaks very positively to your character for me, because I love bologna. Liverwurst is a lot better, though. I got to get more liverwurst.
Character seal of approval.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say so. I'm being highly charitable to you in all of our conversations.
Very.
Unbelievable.
Seal of
amount.
approval with an asterisk.
That's why I said it's a temporary seal of approval. That's what Stardust and Chud got too. Okay.
Yeah, but mine also says a charitable seal of approval.
Well, yeah, I do the same for Stardust and Chud Logic.
Oh, you think you're being highly charitable to them too?
I'm highly charitable to almost everybody.
You lost at this Odyssey? How? This is like the easiest one. It's Magic Monkey Odyssey. Do you like? It's the same game every single time. Do you want me to show you? Because I already did the hard one. Like, this is.
Don't think that for some reason because I fight with a lot of people, but like I'll talk with anybody, hear anybody out for anything. But if they start attacking me, then we'll fight. You know.
Bro, you place down like your Drew. Like, bro, this is like every single game where you do like where you do this strategy. It's pretty much the same. I didn't pick Omen. What do you mean you didn't pick Omen? I thought you have to play Omen. Like, you have to play him, no? Or maybe you only have to play him on hard. You should have picked him. He's fucking easy. He works really well. He buffs all magic monkeys. He's like a really solid champion to use. You should fucking get good, bitch. No, I'm just kidding. But you...
Does it make you mad that I'm mad at you?
No, I think you have good reason to be. I think it's pretty insulting when you feel like you've been pretty vulnerable with somebody and you've shown a great deal of your character.
So being
and
a pussy,
the other person
Destiny.
still has some reservation about you or
I'd
thinks
be
something that
laughing
you
at
think
them
to be
at this
inconceivable
point.
of yourself. I think it's pretty normal to feel upset about that.
Oh no, I'm losing. Ah.
But are you mad?
No, I understand you. Why would I be upset about it? I think it's reasonable.
Well, I understand you too.
Why does he want him to be mad? That's exactly the energy I'm getting here. Are you mad? But are you mad that you've upset me? We're going to investigate everything because we know enough about MrGirl. It sounds like he's trying to upset Destiny. Like, you've upset me. Like, does that upset you? That seems like a tactic he'd use with his girlfriend. You know you upset me. Like, does that make you... That should upset you. Do you know that makes me upset? This is like... They've been on about this for like 30 minutes.
I'm mad because I understand you.
Okay, well.
He looks like he's going to cry. Does Destiny just never hang up with people? Does he just let people talk until they're done talking? Like, I don't understand.
I'm getting a neon sign made for my new hotline show. My
Destiny,
college.
listen. You have no friends. They all betray you for greater fame and success. So be my friend, okay? Be my friend, because you're not going to get a better friend than me. Bitch. That sounds like what was happening here. I could be friends with Destiny. He's just so, like, annoying to talk to when he is not interested in talking. And I just can't deal with that shit, okay? It's fucking... That's just lame, bro. Plus, there's, like, nothing we could talk about. Like, are you mad? Be mad, so I'm a good guy. Yep, there you go. Stop it. Stop doing that. Stop fucking rephrasing things in a way that, like, sums up what I'm saying in, like, a sentence. It pisses me off.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How much is it costing you?
I think it's
What do
gonna
you
be
talk to him
$600.
about? Nothing. Last time we talked about a few things, and then like he said that when I said that I think trans women are women and trans men are men, but they're different from cis people, he was like, "That's problematic." And now here he is getting banned off Twitch for fucking being transphobic. Getting banned on Twitch for saying that trans women are women, but they have a biological advantage. Crazy shit, huh? Crazy shit.
Ooh, not bad. Okay.
I recommend it.
For my background?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
That's the most exciting thing. Then I'll go back to working on this pedophile rumor research video.
Gotcha.
Great. Sounds like you probably have a lot of information already, being one.
Yeah, I want to get some. I want to get an FBI agent on my stream somehow, or an ex-FBI agent. I want to interview an FBI agent.
Oof. I've heard that for some divisions related to children, you're like, as part of your job, you have to watch a lot of really fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could imagine that's something that's really interesting. I heard a story. I don't know. It's a long time ago. I can't even cite the source. So sorry. Of a guy or a person. I think it was a guy. It was their job to like catch child predators and shit, and they had to go through all the porn, and they became like addicted to child porn because of that. How fucked up is that? That's really fucked up. Could you imagine, like, you're somebody you became a police officer to like protect children, and it became your job to do something that's really hard. Like, imagine having to sit down and watch. Like, you have to watch it, and like you do that, and you get addicted to it, and it's like, holy shit, like that's horrible. It was a guy. Right? That's horrible, man. That's like the worst. It's almost you're like becoming the monster that you set out to like defeat. That's terrible. Who has to watch videos to confirm that? I guess that's what they have to do. I guess that there's a division that they'd have to do that. That's my understanding. How fucked up is that, dude?
Yeah, I want to find one of those people.
Well, if you ever tweet and looking for him, I'll give you a retweet. Okay, it's part of my template.
I think that the Fit from Fresh and Fit Myron Games. I think he used to do something to do with like protecting children and the FBI or whatever.
Very character seal of approval. I'll amplify your voice. All right.
All right.
It's a really good question though, because I should start asking that more when I have conversations about like trying to create pathways for non-offending pedophiles to get treatment before they like do anything wrong. You know, because it'll reduce the chance that they'll do anything wrong. That's the whole argument. Because if we stun them too much, then they won't even come forward for help, and they'll probably end up abusing a child. I would ask like, what if an FBI agent does like it's their job to like watch CP to see if it's like actually that as some part of their job. And let's say they got addicted to it. Would you allow them to get reformed? They'd probably say like, yeah, I think so. It's like, okay, so what if somebody was molested themselves as a child? Would you allow them to get reformed? Oh, I guess so. It's like, okay, so like, obviously, where do you draw the line? You know what I'm saying? Was the Myron thing confirmed though? Yeah, I think he's confirmed. I think he confirmed worked for the FBI to help children. I don't know if that like whole big case that he like did a whole big thing was confirmed, but that's what they said it was thought. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter.
I'm gonna mail you a Save Shaylin shirt.
Okay. Medium.
Yeah.
Oh, I have your CD and your tape on my shelf over there. They're like only two things on my shelf, so.
That's an honor. I do. I would like to add a Save Shaylin shirt to your collection. Do you want the black or the light blue? Just the black one.
What does the light blue one look like? Listen, I'm fashion challenged, so just do black. It goes with everything, okay?
Okay. All right.
All right, Destiny, I'm going to send you a gift. It's going to be a realistic mold of my penis with the balls on it. And that's a good thing. See, this is the problem. I can't find a mold with my balls on it because my wife really wants it. She loves my balls. Women love big balls a lot. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. She loves it.
I'm getting merch soon.
Okay.
You have to model some of it for me, okay? Just like 2 or 3 pictures. Okay, good.
Sure.
Is this the rest of the conversation? Just some like fucking weird like beta
Just let me know
conversation?
what merch.
Gotcha.
I'm just gonna go for range.
Anything else?
And then more range.
Erudite.
Should be fun.
Yeah.
Good faith conversation between 2 good faith people.
Yeah. Exactly. That's right. I think that's it. Yeah.
All right. If there's anything, feel free to shoot me a DM.
Oh, you too.
Okay.
Of course.
My
Thanks for
heart is
responding
always
to me today.
My heart is always open.
Okay. Well, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too.
Try not to be too aggressive.
How much more is there? Oh, Destiny just rants for another
terrible.
half an hour?
All right.
Or 20 minutes? I don't know if I'm going to watch that. We'll see.
All right. Good job, guys.
All right. Let's see what he has to say. Faster.
Was that a difficult conversation? No, you just have to recognize the extent of like where the boundaries. It gets like kind of weird talking about like how does Shaylin feel about something because honestly he has more experience with it, so he might know better than me, or he's missing something that I know better than him. But neither of us can know for sure because she's not a difficult conversation. So.
Oh, it's just going to be a recap. Okay. Oh, listen, what a great conversation, bro. Mr. Girl's a morally deplorable, worthless human being. He's abusive, and I don't even know if he knows it. I think if the most charitable I could be is that I think maybe he just doesn't realize that he's abusive, but even that's too much. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and another special shout out to all my Patreon and Twitch subs. If you'd like to support this channel further than you already have by just watching the video alone, go down to the links below where you can sub on my Patreon, which will allow you to get your name on this beautiful black wall. Or you can go to the Twitch page and you can actually use a free Amazon Prime sub, if you have Amazon Prime, to subscribe. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.